Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and Rich Lopp here for the Awakening Experience. We are doing it today on the Wheel of Fortune. What is going on, Mr. Rich Lopp?
What is up, man? How was your weekend?
Not the best weekend, but good in other ways, bad in others.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, sometimes you kind of have to have some negative times to balance out, you know, when it's too good for too long. I heard this amazing little nugget dropped from one of the most unexpected places years ago, Beavis and Butthead. Butthead said, if everything was cool all the time and nothing sucked,
Right.
how would you know what's cool?
Right.
And I remember I was a kid when I heard that, and I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And now it makes perfect sense. So, I don't know. Just know that whenever things are going really, really bad, you know, it's like, well, this means something fucking awesome is definitely around the corner, you know?
I agree. That's pretty a good segue to the Wheel of Fortune card because, man, cycles are one thing in life. And I was telling you right before this, it's like if you just try to stay in sixth grade your whole life, in that time frame of your life, oh, man. But some people like that. Some people want to stay in the same place. It also kind of reminds me of just even the world, like, you know, 100 years ago, the idea of the car was like a new thing. And people were like, all right, like, let's go get a Model T Ford. Like, you know, and that was a luxury. People were still walking and riding horses. And so it's not like it, you know, it's like people today think it's just going to stay like this all the time. And that's, I think, the problem. And I think you're right. Like, sometimes life is, when it's kicking to the next cycle, or maybe you can call it just kick into the next chapter, it's what makes a great book, you know? And that's got its highs and lows. No good movie is going to be perfect as far as the storyline and even the characterization of each chapter being the same. There's got to be some drama. There's got to be some elements. But in manifestation, you know, it could throw us off to everything also be the best thing that ever happened to us to get us on our path. You know?
Yeah, there's many different ways to look at that. Like if you take, for example, our transition going from Vegas to coming here.
Right.
My wife, Leah, and I, we were having this conversation where she was starting to get really frustrated because it's been incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, you name it, from the littlest, teeniest, nothing working in the house, everything broken, you know, all the wiring was wrong. Just, you name it. And she was, you know, getting really frustrated with it. And I was like, look, I'm telling you, it's not a bad sign. It's actually a good sign.
Yeah.
Because now we're climbing back up the mountain. We just hit some stumbling blocks and some loose rocks, you know?
Right.
But from what I've seen, and I tell my personal clients this all the time, you will always be tested when it's time to level up.
Yeah.
Always. You don't just get, like you said, the sixth grade. You don't get to go to the seventh grade without passing a test.
Yeah. So
I think it's a good sign.
Well, I like that you said level up. It feels like this card is level up. I mean, it is in the clouds. So, I mean, you're leveling up. But I feel like you're right. You have to go through, like you were just bringing up the move. It might feel like as you're climbing a mountain, you might stumble. Some rocks might come out of place. It doesn't mean, though, you're falling. And anything that's worth having, which I think this card has such a weird connotation with fortune. The original of fortune is Fortuna, is actually the daughter of Jupiter, right? So the daughter of Jupiter is not Jupiter of fortune. So Fortuna is always been a wheel. And where we get the idea of the Wheel of Fortune and all these things in the game like that's on TV, or this is, fortune is even in the worst moments of change.
Yeah.
That people think fortune, when they see this card, it's like, I'm going to win the lottery. It's like, that's not what this card represents at all. Like, if anything, that might, and maybe it does in the fact that you might think it's a good cycle you're going to, but actually that might be the worst. Every lotto winner pretty much wishes they didn't win the lottery. You know?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, you always see that. And that is a prime example of, you know, they always say money doesn't buy happiness. And that's the prime example of it right there.
Yeah.
But anytime, like to me, well, for me, whenever this card comes out in a reading, to me, it's the karma card. Like when somebody's asking about, a particular connection, one of the first things I look at is what's the soul contract. And if this card comes out, I tell them this is a karmic soulmate. But that word is another one of those buzzwords in the spiritual community that gets misused a lot. That doesn't mean bad thing.
Right.
It can be challenging, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Usually what it means is you have unfinished business from a previous lifetime, But if you're talking about in the same lifetime, yes, it a lot of times has to do with a leveling up and the challenges and the obstacles that come along with leveling up. Like I always tell everybody, if you want to become a person you've never been, you have to do things you've never done. That's what turns you into that person you need to become. Overcoming the challenges and the obstacles and learning from them is turning you into a different person.
100%. I mean, people want to manifest something and then they just want it to just show up. And a lot of it is the letting go and watching it show up, but the action that we take, and especially in new territory, which that's hard for the fixed signs. It's all 4 fixed signs in this card. Mm-hmm. It's also all 4 fixed signs in the Wheel of Fortune card. No, we're doing that, the World card.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for all those other signs out there, but unless you're a fixed sign, you're not represented in the major arcana at all, really. I mean, you could give the Emperor to Aries and all that stuff, but it's like no. Like there's an importance because we're both fixed signs. Mm-hmm. When we have to level up, it's difficult.
Yeah,
especially new territory. Mm-hmm. New territory. So if it's Aquarius, new people, new world, new situations, new places where you don't know all the things. Scorpio. New lover, no, new trust, right? New trust, right? New places to learn how to attract where you're not used to. And when you get to Taurus, man, everything from food to
any new
anything.
Yeah.
Except I think they have a better aspect with the mind though, like being able to switch in the mind. Okay, like they can change their mind quick, but you're going to take away those bed sheets and you're going to take away that, and Leo is learning to have to be courageous. Believe it or not, Leos are super shy. So are Aquarians. Like we're the ones that, having to find new courage and to take on a task that brings the heart out without bringing the frustration.
Yeah.
So it's like, these are definitely very powerful moments whenever a Wheel of Fortune comes. I like how you say karmic partner because it does have an element to it because of the wheel being that we all in life, it's basically an astrology wheel. Like it's pointing at signs, right? It's pointing at, we go through cycles. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes in our life, let's say a person just gets removed out of your life and then somebody's coming in. It might be a good karmic situation. I love how you said that there's a stigma on it.
Yeah.
To come into your life to help you at a certain moment. And sometimes those last a long time. Sometimes they don't. That's what's really weird with this card is it could go as long as a minute to a day to a week to, half your life to, I think this card definitely is not a card that represents a moment forever, but it can be a moment that lasts forever though. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it represents cycles. And like what you were talking about earlier about, some people liking to stay in the same cycle. And on my journey for the past 5 years, nothing breaks my heart more. You ever just sit around? I don't know. I have real loud thoughts, and sometimes thoughts will just pop in my head. And a random name of a person that I haven't seen in 15 years will pop in my head, and I'm like, I wonder what they're up to. Let me find them on Facebook, and I'll be goddamned. At least 90% of the time, they're still sitting in the same fucking spot, doing the same. They don't look any different. You got a couple gray hairs and some wrinkles on your face, but you're still sitting in the same spot, doing the same shit. Nothing has changed. And I'm like, God damn, you poor thing. What the fuck? I couldn't even imagine that.
No.
I couldn't imagine, not going crazy and pulling my hair out. Like, this is not all that life is about. I'm climbing that fucking mountain, God damn it. That was my outlook on it, One day you're going to either see me waving from the top of the mountain or dead on the fucking side.
Yeah.
And there's so many people from my past who are still kicking around the same 6 blocks, working the same job, fucking with the same people, doing the same stupid shit. And hey, if that's what you want, okay. I'm not judging you. I know it sounds like when you say things like it sounds kind of mean and judgy. And I don't mean to come at it from that perspective. It's just sad because there's so much more that this life has to offer. if you would have the courage to get up and do it and break out of your comfort zone and be willing to be uncomfortable and challenge yourself and push to new levels. And so many people are so afraid that Wheel of Fortune reverse, so they just keep spinning around in the same cycle over and over and over and over, you know?
It's like being an adult and being stuck in 6th grade, just sitting there and have a crush on the same person that after 20 years, they're still trying.
Yeah.
That's definitely Wheel of Fortune reversed. I know we don't really talk about reversed yet, but I think it's important, though, because this is one of the cards where I feel like the reverse is one of the ones that's like, because it's the 10th card, the Roman numeral 10, the X Factor card, too. It's an X Factor coming in to change things. And I love that because it's like also the X, if you look on it, you can see Aquarius at the top and opposite, but in the X shape is Leo, which is the opposite, and then Scorpio at the top with Taurus in the X, right? So it's showing you the oppositions, but how they connect in the middle for the point. So it's like there's a point, there's an X factor coming in to change your life. And especially, like you say, I see it all the time too, trust me. But sometimes in life, there's those X factors. And usually this card's showing up to pay attention because it's an awareness card. And I think awareness is so important in the awakening experience, even if you think, I'm so spiritually, I know it all. It's like, oh, no, you don't. Because they're all still reading books, they're blank pages, but they're all stopped in a moment of the awareness of what's turning. You could be turning in your life, right? Like be stuck in the rut, like, well, I went through a breakup, my job's changing, this is happening. And when you get stuck in the constantly there and don't take a second and understand, whoa, this is where I'm changing, so you have a better footing on where to put your energy, because we all get stuck in our shit when shit's happening. But if we don't stop for a second and go, oh, this is a huge chapter fucking change. Sometimes it's a fucking book change. That's what's cool about this being a major arcana, is it's like, the book's fucking changing or the chapter's changing. And I think it depends on the other cards that are pulled with it, but definitely it's an X Factor card. And it's like, are you paying attention to the X Factor of why this X Factor is happening? Because there is kind of an X Factor of the past, the future, the moment, and where it's all coming into an awareness spot. And it's the 10th card. So there is that X Factor, and that changes the whole game. And it's also X, which is multiplication, which actually, believe it or not, it was John Dee, the astrologer back in the 1600s, that literally came up with what we know today is plus, minus, divide, all that. And he was an astrologer. And the X is multiplication, because there's only 9 numbers. When you get to the 10th number, there's something different. That's when now you're coming into a multiplying aspect. And also, there's a lot of hidden occult with that, but I can go on for a whole show on that, and I have. But
that always fascinates me, how much you know about these cards. It blows my mind, but that does make a whole lot of sense with the because they're mirroring each other.
Yeah,
they're mirroring each other, and that I find so fascinating, because, like, astrologically speaking, when you hear opposites, some people they hear that word and they think like night and day different. But from what I've observed astrologically, not at all. It's like mirror image reflection.
Yeah,
Taurus and Scorpio are mirror image reflections. Aquarius and Leo are mirror image reflections. And they're so similar, sometimes they're almost identical.
Yeah.
But you got to look real close sometimes. It's like the reflection. It's, you know, and especially whenever you see relationships like that, opposite relationships, like I get those in readings all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never seen it successful. It always turns into what most people refer to as the typical karmic type of relationship, you know, where I think anytime you're put in a situation like that, it's challenging you to do better and become somebody that you've never been before.
Right.
And in my opinion too, like, remember how we were talking about the death card and the tower card?
Yep.
Like you were saying, you know, something's coming, a chapter's about to change. You can kind of feel that. It's almost like the death process coming. Yeah. And you can kind of feel it. And after a while, you start developing that relationship with the universe, you can feel it coming. Yeah. I feel a chapter change coming. What do? Most people get scared and they try to dig their heels in and say, no, I ain't changing nothing. And at some point, you're going to be on your deathbed looking back. Do you know, have you ever heard of that dude? He was real viral on the internet for a while. He has like 1 million followers. Prince EA, have you heard of him?
Yeah.
He does those spoken word poetry
Right.
videos. Well, he did this one back in like 2018, I think, called Everybody Dies, but Not Everybody Lives. And he said they did a study, a hospital study on 100 elderly patients facing their last days. And when asked to reflect on their life's biggest regrets, they didn't regret the things that they did. They regret the things they didn't do, the chances they were too afraid to take. When I heard that, that hit me so fucking deep. I was like, you know what? I would much rather try and fail and embarrass the hell out of myself than be 90 years old looking back thinking, man, I wish I would have at least tried that. And that's what I've been living my whole life by, you know?
Well, I don't know. I want to get your opinion because I have my own, I guess you could say, curiosity, and I try to understand each card very deeply. But have you noticed there's like a weird fucking entity, dark being in there, right? With the horns, and then a snake, right? So there's the shadows, which to me, and then of course there's the Sphinx with the sword on top of truth, right? I feel like a lot of it is when we go against, so especially manifestation, geez, going against the flow of the universe is the worst thing you can do. God, and you know, it comes with the regret thing that you just brought. It's like, people have regrets because the universe brought them everything they need and they don't see it and they miss out the opportunity. And it's like, I'm going to go my own way. Now, that's a whole other conversation about my whole way and the universe's way and how they meet up, though. They have to meet up. And I feel like that's where the shadow comes in, is when it's like the universe puts so many signs in our face, like this isn't working out anymore in my life, or this is time to just evolve. I feel like the spiritual journey goes so much better when it's like, you know what? It's not that it's over. It's just I'm evolving. But when you go against the evolution, you're like, no. I don't want to change the chapter. I like it like this too much. I mean, I remember when I used to do methamphetamine, and I just remember when I had friends falling down left and right, and they were losing their jobs, and I was still holding my job, and I always do the funny. I've said it maybe 5 times before in my life, but I always say, people are like, you didn't go to rehab? I'm like, no. I was like, I had nobody to do it with, so I stopped. Because it wasn't fun, because there was nobody to do it with, and everybody was fucking losing their minds, losing their jobs, but the writing was on the wall to just stop.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh, I love this apartment. I love, I was living a wild life in that place at that time. And I remember just like calling my brother up and just being like, I need your truck, because I had fucking didn't want to lose my truck and I couldn't afford it because I was spending it on drugs. So I had to downsize to a little fucking, actually at that time I think I had the 300D diesel fucking Mercedes that was fucking old. And I'm like, I need your truck to get my bed and shit out. And I remember just being like, you know what, the X Factor's here, fucking, I'm not going to keep pushing this anymore. People are starting to, there was somebody who was shot, I'm not even kidding, in Orange County, it's very rare, but in 2006, somebody, it was a bad relationship, and some woman pulled out her boyfriend's shotgun in the middle of the parking structure right in front of my fucking balcony and shot her fucking husband to death. So I got home from work and there was a crime scene. I couldn't go up to my parking thing. And I remember the cops knocked on my door right when I got home and I was tweaked out.
Oh, shit.
Right? And I'm like, they're in a raid. And they're like, do you know what happened out there? Your apartment's the only window that's like right, and your balcony looks right, because it was like a 2-level fucking parking garage. And I was on the top part and I was the second floor. So I'm like right there. And I went out there and I saw the blood and everything, and I just was all like, I don't care, twizzle by twizzle, fucking. And then literally that was all it was. But there were signs. There were like little things that this story's not going good. Even my environment around me. That doesn't happen. Why does it happen right in front of my place?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's where I feel like the Wheel of Fortune can help, is like, you can start to feel, it's like the day, right? You could start to feel like it's past noon, it's afternoon, or it's like, you know what? Yeah, it's getting close to sunset. We should probably get off the beach. We should probably get in the car. That's what this car is on a light level to me. It's like, you know, in life, it's like, just if you stay with that, you're okay. But if you're going to be like, no, I'm going to forget about that. And then you're like, I don't have a jacket. Now I'm on the fucking beach. It's cold. I'm like, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's what happens, I feel. I don't know what you feel about that shadow part or.
You know what it really triggered when you pointed that out with the dark entity here and the whatever this is.
Snake.
Like it kind of goes back to, have you ever seen, like, it's a meme that goes around social media, and it'll usually be like a spiral staircase, and it said that life is like a spiral. Even though you're moving up, you'll continually come back around and be faced with similar situations until you learn the lesson. So, like, you know, you have this little dude right here. He keeps coming around, and then he comes around again, and then he comes around again, and it's like, what did you learn this time? What are you going to do differently this time? You know, like, there's some people, they keep spinning around in the same circle, and this dude comes around, you know, the devil comes back around, and then they just do the same shit. And then they just keep repeating the same cycle and repeating the same cycle, and they don't do anything different. And they think, like, one thing a lot of people do, they'll sit there and say, okay, I learned my lesson. And it's like, okay, prove it. You can't just say, I learned my lesson.
Right.
People come to me and ask me, why do I keep repeating the same cycles over and over and over? I'm like, you tell me why you keep doing that. Why do you? Why don't you do something different the next time you're put in that situation? That's the reason why you keep repeating the same cycle, is because you keep doing the same fucking thing every time you're put in that situation, you know?
Which is exactly like what you were saying at the beginning of this, is like, people just want to stay in a cycle and they don't want to let the universe take them to where it's going, because it's the Sphinx that's on there, and the only other Sphinxes are the two Sphinxes in the Chariot card. That there is no reins, that the Chariot, right? So it's the universe, and you notice it's weird because it's both the black and the white Sphinx up at the top, right? Whereas here they're fucking black or white, the dark and the light. But it's like you're being pulled by the divine. You don't need the reins. You know where you're going in the Chariot card. So it's like that sword, though, always represents the truth and being able to see it. And I think that's what's really interesting to me, is it's like we're in a time where a lot of people, I think, are running into this issue the most, where it's like, the universe is telling you, go do it. Here's everything you need. You want to make something happen? It's not that hard. The universe has given you everything. I think the hardest part of the manifestation journey is you have everything you need right now. Mm-hmm. You have everything you need. The idea that I need this outside, and I need this, and especially materially, I need this, and then I have this. It's like you have every fucking thing right now. You and I both started all this with nothing, but there was something.
Yeah.
You know, and people don't want that. It's like, well, until I get a camera. It's like, you've been doing your thing with a webcam. You just got your camera after fucking years and 300,000+ subscribers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And another thing, speaking of the manifestation path, is the transition is rarely ever fun. In order, like, wherever you are vibrationally, whatever you're wanting to manifest, you got to move up through the different stages and the different levels, and that's not fun. That's not fun. The manifestation path, to be 100% honest with you, a lot of the path can suck.
Yeah.
And I hate to keep reverting back to this, but it's just, it fits so well. My transition from Vegas to here sucked. It hurt. I fucking broke down and cried in my bathroom. I loved that fucking house. I traded my Camaro in with tears in my fucking eyes. It was hard. And that's the path. That's the whole path. Every time you're going to make a transition, I felt the universe nudging me in a certain direction, and it sucked. I fell in love with my life.
Yeah.
No, I was attached to it, but that's the path. Do you want your manifestation or not? Because as you move up the mountain, you have to let go of certain things that are down there on that level.
Yes.
I was no longer a frequency match to my fucking dream car. I had to let it go. I didn't have to.
Right.
I could have got it back. I could have easily had them replace the transmission. It was all under warranty.
Right.
You know, silly examples, I know, but this is the whole path. And that's one thing that I'll see people get on the manifestation path, and they'll never accomplish their goal, because you will, not you might, not you could, you will have to let things go. You will experience separations between you and people who are close to you, because anything and anyone that is not changing to the new vibration with you, anything and anyone that's staying on the old vibration. I'll give you an example. I tell this to my clients all the time. Imagine it's a radio, okay? So imagine you're sitting in your car and you got your car tuned to 107.7 top country hits, and you can't stand country music, but you do love Garth Brooks. Now, your goal is to turn to 105.1 hip hop and R&B. Okay, well, you have to make that frequency change. And you're going to have to say goodbye to Garth Brooks. Sorry, I know you love him, but the only way that he can go with you is if he puts the fucking guitar down and starts rapping.
Right.
He has to make the choice. Like, whatever this person is, it's usually a person. It's usually like a family member or something like that. That person has to make the free will choice to make a frequency change with you, or you're going to have to let them go. You're going to have to let go of that job, that income source, that fucking spouse sometimes, that relationship you have with your brother or your mother. It's part of the path. And I would have to say that if I had a list of the top 3 leading causes of manifestation failure, it would be failing to let go when it's time to.
And you know what? That's exactly what this weird devil is doing. If you notice, he's wrapped around it. He's attached.
Yeah.
That's what it is, because everybody's up in the clouds. The Wheel of Fortune's up in the clouds. There's no attachment there. And that's what I think is difficult. You bring up the best point, the attachment, not letting go. Especially when it's been a while. I notice that with people. It's like, I want to manifest this, but I'll argue about my past on why something's gone, something that I loved, but I want to go move forward, that I want to love this now. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
You're fucking still towing the fucking trailer. It's like, you got to disconnect the fucking trailer. Or the Garth Brooks things. I use radio examples, but I've never heard it said like that. That was some Aquarius shit right there. I was like, damn. But it's like, you got to drop Garth Brooks, because then are you going to just sit on the station and wait for Garth Brooks? That's like people with anything in manifestation. Like, I'm just going to sit on this frequency where I'm waiting for Garth Brooks to show up. Or I'm waiting for this job to change. Or I'm waiting for this project I want to turn into. Or I'm waiting for this, especially relationship, to happen. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to sit here on this fucking station and listen to all what they're saying is the greatest hits, which I do not think are the greatest hits. And that's the hard part. It's like, sometimes in life you just have to let go and be like, you know what? That was a chapter, that was something, and it got me to where I'm at now. Most people do not have gratefulness, because if we look at all 4, it's love, it's gratefulness, it's the passion that we have, and then it's the way to put it all together and to see our future. That's the 4 fixed signs. And if you're not grateful, that's where it starts with Taurus. If you ain't grateful for what you have now, you ain't going anywhere, because you're attached to something in the past. That means you're so more grateful for what you had. But it's so weird, because I see people who are so grateful for what they have in this moment, but I just want to relive this past again, which is always the shittiest shit. There's nothing. If you actually look at the past, there's good times, but man, especially when you get older, you realize, like, well, there was that fucking situation with it. There was that. It's just like a relationship. Somebody you can't let go of somebody. It's like, you forgot about all that fucking crazy shit. Mm-hmm. Like, I have a friend recently. I just literally just, exes. It's like, don't forget about the shit they were doing. Don't forget about that crazy shit. But people seem to just, but they were so great at this. It's like, but you forgot about that scrub that they were, or that they were having you pay for things, or they were fucking causing a fight at every fucking corner. But most people don't have gratefulness for this moment, no matter how weird it could be. That it's a weird card, because it is this moment in the clouds that's weird, and there's all these weird things happening, and everything's feeling like it's weird. But that's where you don't go backwards. You look at the forward, and you look at what you have now, and what the gratefulness is now, and you move with it. Because the Chariot, I think, is so involved, because it's the only time I see the Sphinx. It's a card of moving forward. I think it's a spiritual. I think that both these cards represent a very high-end, true manifestation path of, like, The past of the city, I know we haven't done this card yet, he's got nothing there left, so he's moving on. That's actually what this card means. That spirit, you're finally going. He has the magician wand. He has the moon, right? The star card. The chariot holds the most, number 7 card. But it's like you got to be able to go. And I think that people don't want to. I don't know why they don't want to go, dude. I think that's the most frustrating part of life. It's like, I'm just going to complain about everything that fucking I don't have, but I have it because I'm attached to something in the past. That everything defines you, though. You're worthless if you're defined by what your past. Because you have to keep evolving and maintaining and evolving and making yourself better. The idea of, I used to be great in this one place, those are the worst stories in the world.
I know. And that's one thing that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about a lot, too, is that, like, remember how he says that, like, basically the way the universe works is it hands you evidence to support what you believe. The only thing a belief is a thought that you think over and over until it wires itself into your brain. And then people say, I am this way because this thing happened to me 5 years ago. And ever since this thing happened, I've been repeating one long, drawn-out emotional response over and over and over. And that emotional response has burned itself into my brain, and now it runs all by itself on autopilot like a computer program. So your brain is nothing but a record of the past. And a big part of the manifestation path is unwiring that neural circuitry that's firing in the past and rewiring a map towards the future. And that's actually my next paid event on High Vibe is going to be digging into the neuroscience a little bit more. But yeah, and also too, when you mentioned people aren't grateful, looking back on my story, it's so fascinating. I used to be the most negative, ungrateful, complaining bastard. Like, I worked at this job cleaning airplanes. Every week I would open up my check. The first thing I would look at was not how much I made. I would look at the deductions. That's the first thing I would look at, is how much they took. And I would spend all week continuously bitching about what I don't have. I wasn't grateful for anything. My house wasn't nice enough. My car wasn't new enough. I just complained, and bitched and complained. And then finally, remember, I became blessed with nothing.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget what it was like when I got my first tent in the woods. I was like, oh man, sweet. I was thankful for that tent. Dude, when I turned myself into that homeless shelter, I shit you not, the night before I turned myself into the homeless shelter, I had to spend the night in a porta potty to escape freezing rain. And it was a stinky old nasty porta potty. It smelled like shit. By the time I got into that homeless shelter, I walked upstairs. There was this big room with all these bunk beds. It was like, I don't know, 50 to 100 other guys. Smelled like sweaty butt crack and feet. Open showers and toilets. You had to shit and shower in front of everybody.
That's nicer than my military shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it was just like the military.
Yeah, but I'm saying military was nicer.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. I felt like I hit the lottery. I was like, oh my God, thank you. I got a place to lay my head. I got a fucking place to shower. I got a place to shit. I was so thankful. From that point, I finally, because I would always hear, be thankful for what you have. And to me, that was just a cliche that would fly over my head until I was put in a position to where now I know what it's like. Like, people would say, you should be thankful that you have a roof over your head. And I'd be like, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Now, I know I took 3 showers in 5 months. Now I know what it's like.
Yeah.
How blessed I am just to be able to take a shower. Just to be able to have a bed with a pillow is a blessing. And then ever since I turned myself into the homeless shelter and started expressing gratitude for that fucking bed and that shower at the homeless shelter, I've been going up and up and up, because if you bitch and complain, the universe is going to keep giving you shit to bitch and complain about. But if you keep expressing gratitude, the universe keeps giving you shit to be thankful for. Yes. And I still, to this day, show just as much gratitude for my 2-story, 4-bedroom house as I showed that fucking homeless shelter. Same thing.
Right. Well, and gratefulness is so important because the first sign you see at the bottom is Taurus. But in order to get to the other, opposite side of Scorpio, you have to do something. So Scorpios are desires, it's our wants. We want something in life. Well, you've got to plant the seed. You know, it's like not everybody's going to do something for you. If you're going to Aquarius, like everybody's just going to fix me. It's like everything we see with the woke mindset and all the shit in the media today. Everybody's like, I just want the government to do everything for me. And you've talked about that in your journey, and I talked about it last week. You know, whenever you use the government, it's like you better fucking use it to propel you forward. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like it's not meant to be a permanent solution.
Yeah.
It's fucking less than duct tape. You know what I mean? It's not.
It's government.
But that's the point. There's something in astrology called antesia, where the light of the sun in Taurus is the same as the light of the sun in Leo. Same with Scorpio and Aquarius. So, like, if you're in the middle right now of spring, it's the same amount of light as in summer. Same in the winter as it would be in the fall, right? In the middle of fall. And I know for some people that might be like, wait, what? It's just the differences of moving to more night or moving to more day, but there comes points to where it's the exact same. So with Leo and Taurus at the bottom and Aquarius and Scorpio at the top, it's the antesia, which is, we were talking earlier about like mirror reflections, right? And in order for you to get anywhere, love doesn't mean anything if it doesn't have a meaning. And I know that might trigger people because the spiritual community is just love and light, right? But it's like, no, love has to have something that has a meaning to do something for it, and it will propel forward. You know, it's like you got to be grateful for something in order to get your desires and wants, to make sure that it's pure and wholesome, because when you're not grateful and you're just taking and you're getting, that's when you start ending up in dark places. Or if you're just doing things, if you're loving meaninglessly, geez, some of those people you end up with are fucking crazy, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong on this, but I personally view that as emotional codependency.
Yeah.
Where, and I get this question all the time in my readings, how does this person feel about me? And then the codependency card comes out. Mm-hmm. And then I have to break it down and explain, like, it's not how they feel about you as much as it is they're trying to fill a void in their own heart. And they think a love relationship is going to do that, so they don't care who does it. I don't care who it is. I just need a faceless, nameless somebody to come fill this void in my heart and fix me. And they get confused, and they think that they love this person when they think that person's going to meet their needs. But when that person can't meet their needs, rather than thinking, well, that person's not meeting my needs because that's fucking impossible, they think, well, you can't do it, so I'll find somebody who will. No, you won't. That's not the way that it works. So they just keep bouncing from person to person to person, loving meaninglessly.
Well, yeah, it's a savior complex, which it's funny because my human design chart's behind you, and I'm a 5-1 in human design, and that's the heretic. And what happens is there's a projection field. And that projection field is, I will be whatever you want me to be, right? Mm-hmm. But the second I don't deliver, and it might just be the stupidest thing, 5s have to deal with this a lot, where it's like, oh my God, now I'm the heretic. Now I'm the fucking worst person because the projection field, I didn't fulfill some one need, but I did for a long time. Or it's the savior complex. Like, oh, you could save me, you did. Oh, great. And then I don't really like the fucking way you take the trash out. Boom! Fuck this person. You know what I mean? Because all those other little things you got met, but you weren't looking at the other shit. And that's what's so bad is this card is the projection that the universe is going to make it my way fully without paying attention to the flow. That'd be like going on the river and running into beavers and being like, fuck these fucking beavers and their dam. Right? Like it's like, no, that's the natural flow, to stop for a second, because maybe you want the water to maybe pass by, because who knows, maybe it's going too fast and you'll fall off the fucking waterfall quick. You never know. Like, people look at stops or moments of awareness or transitions as hell. And so they avoid them. And that's the worst thing that you could do, especially if you're stuck in it. The worst is when you're in mid transformation and you stay there. So you're still with your past, you can't let go. You're in your future and it's looking good, but you're just like, I can't decide which one I like better, but it's a repression. It's not a suppression, it's a repression. Like, no, I'm doing great. I'm in a great place. No, I'm really still connected to my past. I can't let that shit go. It's like, you really want to manifest your future and you're still fucking stuck in the in-between? The X factor will be bad at that point. That's what's kind of scary about the Wheel of Fortune is I've always looked at it as like, well, it's going to be really good or really bad. I mean, because if you're in a place where the universe is trying to get you out of that stuck scenario, but it's your own shit. You can't blame it on other people. That's the other part about the Wheel of Fortune to me I like is like, you can't blame it on some other person. It's your responsibility of your life with the divine and whether or not you're going to go and finally click the whole thing into gear. Because it's like a watch. It's just going to stop if the gears are stopped. The battery's dead on a watch and you're walking around fucking... I've done that. I've been there. But like, you know what I mean? Like, and then avoiding I want my watch to work, but never going to the shop to get the battery replaced. And then you're complaining all the time. Like, my fucking watch doesn't work. It's like, well, I mean, like, how many fucking times have you said you were going to fucking do this and you didn't?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the hard part for people is this is a card that you have to fully accept, not attach, but accept where it's moving. So if your life's moving in a great place, accept it. I see so many people who the universe comes and this card comes and then they get the best life ever and then they just fucking don't accept the full. It's like being stuck in a car in neutral, like being in between gears or staying in a gear and rev lighting and you want to go farther and now I'm not going to shift the gear and put the clutch in. Fuck. Unless you know how to double clutch and you know how to fucking just slam that shit at the right RPM, unless you know what you're really doing, but that's not really how it works. You don't want to be doing that every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it all goes back to the same point. And that is we get stuck in this illusion that if, let's say, for example, and I'm going to use money because it's just easier to talk about. I make 50 grand a year and my goal is to make 500 grand a year. I'm caught in the illusion that I need the 500 grand first, and then that's what's going to make me feel more successful. That's what's going to change my life for me. You know, that's the reason why people can't let go of the past. They don't understand that, no, you have to become a different person. That you in the past, that person has to go. Like, down to the neuroscience.
Yeah.
Like, you literally have to become someone else. When I say literally, I mean... your brain is going to be working differently.
Yeah.
You're going to look at everything differently. You're going to have different beliefs. You're going to have different opinions. You're not going to see the world through the same fucking lens. And that's what has to happen first. And then your life changes. And that process of letting go of the past and that uncomfortable, god-awful feeling of being thrust into this new cycle that's scary and weird, that's normal. That's the process of you becoming a vibrational match to the life that you want because the vibration is the primary law. I will say it until my face turns blue. The vibration has to change. The universe is pushing you out of your comfort zone so that your vibration will change.
Yeah.
And you got to go along with that. If you don't go along with that, then you're never going to see that life that you want so bad. If you stay at the same vibration, you're going to keep manifesting the same shit.
100%. I mean, every cycle in life, whether it's we come into this world, we have no control. Even the mother has no control. There's those trimesters and then labor, the X factor where it changes. And it's like, are you just going to keep the baby inside of you? It can't live there forever. Or, you know, then it gets to our life to where it's like we have to eventually walk. Is that something that we manifest or is that just something that naturally gets to a point where it's like, well, you can't just crawl. I didn't crawl. I crawled till I was 18 months. I didn't start walking till I was 18 months and the doctors were going to get called. They put the pressure on my mom. Like, if he doesn't fucking walk this week, there's a problem. Miraculously, I don't know if I got the memo or something, but it was just the right time and I fucking did. And I just started walking. I just got up and walked. My mom was like, damn. But like people, you're right. You can't be that old self. It reminds me of the old sunglasses I used to wear. Spies. In the 2000s, you know? And I used to see life through those, like that lens of the 2000s, you know? And like, Especially, I was in reality shows all through the 2000s, and I was on MTV. It was amazing. I remember fucking walking down streets. You're the guy from MTV. You're the guy. It was fucking amazing. But that MTV guy could not be this guy right now. I mean, sure, there's qualities that we take. There's stuff that we take, but we don't take the person. We don't take the lens that we look through. If I look through the lens of my MTV persona, oh my God. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Pauly Shore, poor guy. He's still holding on. And that's why, and I feel bad and I like him. I actually love him. And he wasn't everybody's taste. I just watched a thing about him just recently. And it was funny because Sophia didn't know who he was. So I was like, oh, let me show you Pauly Shore. And she didn't really like him. She didn't really get it. And I'm like, well, at our time, like that was everything from radical and the way he dressed and the way he talked is what everybody uses today. Like people don't realize that Pauly Shore made that big of an impact on the whole culture, but he's still writing it out. Yeah. And it's sad because he's a good example is like, you don't see him in movies. They throw him in as a guest role once in a while, but nothing serious. And then he just goes and does stand up, and he still does and you could see him. He's unhappy. He's still doing I got to do the weasel version, And it's like you have to evolve. You can't just keep holding on to being that person that you want to be. If I was still, it's fucking Palmer. That was my nickname on MySpace and everything. I just would have never fucking got here. There's no way you can get to the best places by staying in that same self. And people forget about all this stuff. It's like, oh, I remember these people, and I remember that, and I remember going to this club, or I remember and it's like even clubs don't stay, even restaurants, unless they're really good. But even they have to evolve and change their menu or change the fucking way that the employees are. Or, you just don't see things stay the same. It's like a fucking, put me in a fucking cryogenic fucking Austin Powers fucking frozen fucking place. And that was his problem in Austin Powers. He came back, tried to be him, but it was the 90s now. Yeah. And then he didn't realize she was a fucking fembot the whole time. How did he not realize that?
I know, man. It every time I pick up my phone and scroll Facebook, I'll see some dude in his 50s playing music from the 80s. Like it's so cool. Yeah. You ever walk into I used to hate, even back at my worst alcoholic days, I hated going to bars, especially in Indiana and Kentucky. Right. You walk into and I don't know if you've ever been to one. It's like I have. Dingy and dark. And all you hear is this old dang long dang dong, or like
the carpet has not been replaced in 50 years.
Yeah, and the old music from the 80s, and you see these dudes sitting around. They look like they must be 50, and they got mullets, and they're still dressed like they dressed back when they were 17. And you see, like I vowed to myself, I never want to be that dude who is 50 years old, still trying to relive my teenage years. Right. I just don't want to do that. I see that. You see so many people doing that.
I mean, that's what the housewife shows are. Like the Real Housewives of whatever city. It's like they're in a good relationship. They've manifested the life. They're millionaires. They have the good partner, and that's how they get on the show. And then what happens? They get on that show, and they try to fucking relive, or they try to go young, or they try to do something crazy and be their old self or be this self, and they don't, and they always get divorced. They always have the drama with other people, and then they're trying now because they have a bigger audience to not be themselves and force. That's the other part of the Wheel of Fortune is there's the attachment, but then there's I'm going to force fortune upon me. Not when the universe is asking you to. It's like, I'm just going to, you know what? I'm over my partner. I'm going to go cheat on this person. I don't pay attention to a lot of shit, but it pops up in my newsfeed. There was a show, Vanderpump, like in LA, there was this big like LA club bar, and it was spun off of the whole Housewives series, and it just came out they were all cheating on each other, and they all found out recently, and the husband and wives. It was just like, man. And they're still attached to that and asking the people, and the media plays part of it too, wanting you to connect to the past of something, wanting you to relive your old past. We used to be a better planet by doing this, and and then I get the evolution of moving forward though too. Mm-hmm. That's what's really weird. There's some shit they play with that's really incorrect, and there's some shit they play that's really fucked up. And then there's some places that they're right about. But I feel like that's where it's, when you just brought up the bar and the old, like making a vow, in astrology, we have a Uranus opposition that comes in the beginning of our 40s. And I call it's the midlife crisis. Like, it's a midlife crisis point because what you want to do is that's usually when the guy gets the Harley, the chick gets the new tits.
Yeah.
Right? You know why? Because they're trying to relive that. And what happens? They're trying to relive their youth at 21 when Uranus makes the square for everybody. So that's why we all go weird at 21, is because we all want to break away from a family and the society and go be weird and find our uniqueness in the weirdness. That never leaves you. You have to learn how to integrate that into your life now, opposed to relive it and blow up your life.
Yeah.
You know?
There's nothing, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they realize how, to me, sad. I'm trying my hardest not to sound like an asshole because I don't mean it that way. I don't really know any other way to word it, because it really genuinely hurts my heart when I see a 50-year-old dude talking about how he had the fastest car back in 1982. It was 350 horsepower, you know, and a 60-year-old woman with big fake tits. And it's like, you look weird. You don't look attractive. You look fucking weird, you know? And it makes me sad. I'm not making fun of these people. I'm not trying to like crack on them or nothing like that. It makes me sad. It hurts my heart. That's another reason why I do what I do, because I'm hoping that, you know, the manifestation path, the evolutionary path, the awakening experience, it all ties into one. And that is linear time, illusion, it may be, but it's still moving forward. You know, we have to be able to take the aspects of ourselves that are constantly growing and evolving, transmute the energy from the past and use it to fucking...
Yeah. I mean, it'd be like Joe Rogan, right? I mean, UFC, look what that guy turned his life into, even though he'll bring some UFC guys on, still talk about it, because this is his passion. But his podcast, he evolved to a completely different space. And he's the #1 podcast of all time. Like, you know, he's more watched than the media. Like, do you think he's sitting there being like, oh, I miss the days of UFC? But you know what I mean? Like, I used to be the guy that I interviewed everybody in UFC. I was a UFC fighter. I knew. Like, no, that motherfucker used that, integrated it, and it never lost who he was, right? It's not about losing who you are. It's about knowing how to evolve, like you said, and transmute it. It's like Tiger Woods is a good example of somebody who did not. Like, obviously, it was like, you're done with golf, bro. Like, I don't know how many attempts every time we keep watching, and it's just like, you didn't finish, you didn't qualify, and it's just like, and then you're driving your car off cliffs at 8 a.m. drunk.
Oh, shit.
Like, you know, like, hello? Like, that's the saddest thing. So I go to Lake Havasu all the time. I'm a jet ski racer, but I've been going my whole life. And I'll never forget, because when you brought up the bars thing, there's so many people in Havasu. Like, there was this woman one time, I was on Sandbar. It's illegal to go there now. We used to just park 500 boats and have a fucking massive party. And I'll never forget, this woman came up to me and my buddy, and she had scrumptious tattooed on her big belly.
Ew.
And, you know, she was drunk, and she was like, you ready for some scrumptious? You should have seen, I've been doing this for 40 years here. And I was just like, no, that's not scrumptious at all. And to me, I felt bad. I remember being like, I mean, I love going there. I hold it in me, but I don't base my identity. Nobody, and that's where identity crisis can come. And I think that this card, because the 4 fixed signs, the only time you know they're in an issue is if they have an identity issue, which is pretty much never, because the fixed signs know what they are and who they are. But a lot of other signs, they have identity crisis because they don't know how to do that transmutation process, or they don't know how to continue to still hold who they are and evolve it forward. And that's also in anything in life, right? It's like, if you started out being a cook and you want to be a chef and you want to own a restaurant, well, you still stay being the fucking cook at the restaurant. Eventually, the Wheel of Fortune comes, the X Factor comes. There's a moment where it's like, hey, you can go be the chef for this nice restaurant. Instead of like, I want to be the owner of it. It's like, no, I got to take this next little thing. And then I didn't realize I have to pay attention to health codes in this way, and I'm responsible. And people just want this and then bypass so much shit. It's like, go through the beautiful process of every click. Every click is making it stronger. The same way when you click any kind of gear, especially like, I don't know, I'm thinking like a trailer to bring on a winch. That's what tightens it up, and you just keep doing it instead of like, oh, I don't want to do this click. I just want to bypass it. And can you just pull it up for me? It's like, you're never going to get shit.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything. And that's so, because like that evolutionary process, like you said earlier, you're like, I hated my house. I didn't like just everything that I want. It's like, if you get to that place, the universe is coming down hard. Mm-hmm. It's going to come down hard. Mm-hmm. And it's going to come down hard because you're wanting to be a bougie little fuckface to the universe. Like, I can have it my own way. And that's where I think we've talked on a couple episodes where The Secret, not the people in it, but like they bypassed so much shit to teach people. Yeah. And I think social media is the biggest problem, is people are seeing things and being like, I want to be there.
Yeah.
And it's like, great. There's no problem with that. Mm-hmm. Just, you ready to take all the steps? And you don't go to the best temples in anywhere in the world and they don't have the biggest steps. It's a spiritual test. Mm-hmm. Are you willing to walk up all those steps? And then you haven't even started in the temple yet? You know what I mean? Yeah. Most people are like, where's the escalator? Can you carry me up here? Like, that's how spirituality works. Like, it's a shit ton of steps, but just keep doing them, and you live a fulfilled life if you are taking every step the whole way. If you're trying to go from here to there in 1 minute, then that's your whole life that you're going to be sitting there like, well, I had that one moment. And that's where people get stuck.
Mm-hmm. You said you've been off social media all weekend, but I'd put a video on my Facebook and I think Instagram this morning where, and it just came to me while I was in the middle of my fucking 5-mile run this morning, that one of our biggest issues is we've been so manipulated into believing that ease and comfort is the goal. That's what we have, this finish line in our mind of ease and comfort. Ease and comfort, ease and comfort. And that's a lie.
Yeah.
There is, and I made the example. Nobody has it easy. Nobody. We look at somebody like that successful businessman that has that office in the penthouse of a skyscraper in New York City, and we think his life is easy.
Yeah.
His life's harder than that dude living under the bridge, And we need to get this illusion out of people's minds. Like you said, want to bypass the click. Let me just go straight to here. It was never meant to be that way.
Right.
And how do we get people to understand that no matter, there is no easy way to do anything. You can either suffer with nothing and be homeless and live under a bridge, or you can climb the mountain to success. They're both going to suck. There is no such thing as easy on planet Earth. It does not exist. Get that illusion out of your mind. So which sucky path do you want to take? You want to take the sucky path of sitting around and Five of Pentacles, woe is me, poor pitiful me, I'm a victim? Or do you want to take the sucky path of getting up off your ass and working your fucking ass off and actually making something of yourself? They're both going to be hard. That's what I think the problem is, because we have this illusion in our mind. I want the quickest, easiest way to get this. What's the quickest, fastest, easiest way to get a shredded six-pack? What's the quickest, fastest, easiest way to lose weight? The quickest, fastest, easiest way to make a bunch of money? There is no quickest, fastest, easy as nothing. That's bullshit. That's what I think the problem is.
Yeah, because when you were bringing out, I will take suffering at the bridge and suffering with the amount of red tape, craziness that you have to do to have that skyscraper, and the business and the taxes and all the different zoning and all the fucking permits and all the employees and all the taxes and all the fucking investigations if you get to that high that are going to be audits and the people that are stealing from you and all. I mean, right? I will take that over sitting in the most beautiful, where ease and comfort it is, where people are suffering.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're surrounded by everything that you could do to do whatever, and you're suffering yourself about, I don't know how, and I don't know what to do, and I'm upset. If you're upset, you don't manifest shit. You don't manifest shit. Especially with that woe is me upset. Like, I want this. I learned the hardest lesson of my life doing this business it was 3 years in. I didn't file my taxes in 2010 and in 2011. And then in 2012, it was like, okay, PayPal started in 2012, like, hey, we're sending this shit to the IRS because they weren't doing that at the beginning.
Ooh.
And I went to the family accountant that's still my accountant today, and he looked at me and he went, well, you ready to pay the self-employment tax? I'm like, what is that? Oh, yeah, you're paying 35% of whatever you made. And I'm like, so I made $77,000, I'll never forget it, and I'm going to pay 35 grand right now. It was like more like 25, but then there was fees, so it got up to like 35 grand for my back taxes. I'm like, holy fuck. He's like, you need to build a corporation, dude. And I remember he's like, it's $800 plus 1% a year plus all my accounting fees. And at first, I'm like, all this extra money on top, but you won't be paying that anymore. And you'll be able to actually go build the business you want. You think you're going to go get a studio? You think you're going to get an office on no business, no corporation, no LLC, no S Corp, no nothing? You think you're going to go anywhere? I was just like, shit. I remember that was a big Wheel of Fortune moment in my life because everybody right now is like, I'm going to go build a business and do all this shit. It's like, did you build the LLC yet? Did you do this? All the things that you need to do. You have to do so many things. And people just want to, and that's what I did. I fast tracked it. And the next thing I knew, I paid way later, way harder. And it felt like I had to start over again. And I have a business school. I teach people how to do this shit because it's like, yo, fuck it. It's not just make this, put it out there. Especially in today's world, that's where you get sued. That's where if you don't follow through, if you don't do this, and especially now with the banks and especially all these accounts, they are kicking so many businesses out from even accepting money anymore, unless you have all your I's dotted and all your T's crossed. Like, it's not even a joke at all. Like, you have to have all your shit together. And it's just like people are not, I think it's the not frustrating to me, but I think it's frustrating watching others I just don't want to. And then it's like, I don't want to listen. People don't want to listen to the universe, let alone listen to people who've actually been there and give them the tools to do it. It's like, no, I just want to figure this shit out myself. It's like, okay, you can totally go do that, but there is a whole universe fucking surrounding you trying to give you the signs. There's people, that's what Aquarius represents. There's your desires, but you have to learn how to make sure that you're not just going for your desire without understanding what you're risking within yourself of what possibly in the future. People forget about that. What are you risking in the future? Like, are you sure you'll be stable? Are you sure you'll be okay? Are you ready for all these kind of things? Do you know how to deal with doing business without a business license? Even if it's at home, you just can get a business license from home. It's fucking $75, $100 in some states. But like people and you gotta have a business, or if you want to do sole proprietor, fucking good luck and pay all that fucking stupid tax money, beyond stupid tax money. So people are just not.
It's brainwashing, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's all brainwashing.
It is.
And that another thing, like you mentioned, The Secret a minute ago. It's the same thing. Like, because we've been so brainwashed for so many decades to want that quick, fast, easy. So then The Secret came out, and they made it sound like manifestation is a quick, fast, magical, easy thing that you can do to make your dreams come true. And no, it's not. Sorry,
Yeah.
The manifestation path is still work. The manifestation path is still hard. It's just that, like, if you get on the manifestation path, you're actually going to make it unfold naturally instead of like working against yourself. The reason why you aren't where you want to be is because you're working against yourself. There is no quick, fast, easy, nothing. It never has been. There never will be. And people are so, they hold on to that. No. There's got to be a quick, fast, easy way. No, there's not. And there's so many people out there trying to give you the solution. They're trying to give you the key to success. Everybody's giving you their own rendition. And there is not one genuinely, truly successful person who actually genuinely wants to help you, who's going to tell you there's a quick, fast, easy way. If you hear somebody saying that, stay away from them. They're lying to you, and you got to be tuned in. You got to be tuned in spiritually. And in today's day and age, with all the fucking people out there, there's people like me, people like you. There's thousands and thousands of people out there telling you what you need to hear. But if you're not tuned in, you're not going to know who to trust. You're not going to know who to listen to. And with all this fucking brainwashing that's been going on for the past several decades, you know, you listen to somebody like me who tells you you got to work your ass off. Well, what sounds better? That guy over there who says that there's a quick, fast, easy way to do it. Fuck Rich Lopp. I don't want to listen to him. I want to listen to this person who's telling me the quick, fast, easy way to do it. Well, you ain't going no fucking where. I'm going to tell you right now. You're going to be spinning in circles going nowhere.
Yeah, well, you know why? It's called the Wheel of Fortune. So it's not fortune. So people, to do the wheel of all these things, it takes time. It takes seasons. It takes cycles. It's not, the fortune's here right now. It's the moment that's bringing you to a fortune and whether or not you're going to go with it or you're going to go against it. And that's what's hard. But I feel like you're right. I feel like, oh man, the culture, but also at the same time, it's like, if somebody's telling you it's just going to be, just buy this crystal and all your problems are gone. Just do this and you'll have everything you want in 1 millisecond. It's like, no. I mean, just even to learn a skill to do something like cooking is not just like, well, I cooked a couple times. I'm going to be a cook now. I'm a cook. It's like, I would not eat from that. Don't, if I'm cooking, just as long as it's like pre-made shit that I'm just putting in the fucking pan, then yeah. But that's it. Don't trust me with cooking. I'm not a cook. I could cook red meat. That's about it. You know what I mean? On the barbecue. I'm a good barbecuer.
Yeah.
Done enough of that. But don't put me in that. I won't even own that category. But that's the worst, is when people try to own something they're not to, because that could be a wheel of fortune. Like, I'm the fortune already. When it's like, yeah, I mean, that's a nice mindset. But like, you owning it though?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. And that's where in this, especially now in the spiritual community, people are owning. And it's like, well, I read a fucking Toshin book for a sec. Like, I'm like, or just saying, you could tell with people, they can't give you the description of what's actually happened. Just like, that's so powerful. It's so transformational. Yeah. When you hear people saying words like that, they don't have an explanation.
Yeah.
So it's like that, they don't actually break it down. That's the other thing, is people should be able to break it down for you. And don't trust anybody, have that gauge on in your life, because that's weird. I just thought of this, but that illusion that could come from the Wheel of Fortune, like, this is my saving thing. But it's like, they're telling you not to do anything where there's going to be some work. You're going to have to show up. And the idea of the 4-day work week that's going around right now all over the news.
I haven't heard about that.
It's everywhere. They're trying to move us all to 4-day work weeks. I'm like, ask any successful person if they work 4 days, let alone 5, let alone 6. You're working every day at some point. There's no turn it all the way off. That's a joke. Anybody who actually fell for this bullshit and sat at home and didn't do anything, that was nice till now, right? Because now, and I bet you're in a worse place.
So it's like,
weak. That's the problem, is the Wheel of Fortune keeps turning. Life keeps turning. Your body keeps turning. Everything keeps turning. If your body stopped, if your heart stopped, if your fucking intestines stopped, if your kidneys stopped, if your brain stopped, if your fucking anything stopped, you'd be done. So don't even think in yourself, like, I'm just going to stop. And I'm not going to do it. And people get stuck in the stop all the time, and they wonder why they're not happy and why they're not feeling good. It's like, you won't even try the thing that it's always everybody. What seems so hard is like, fucking in this day and age, you can fucking YouTube it in 1 second and at least go through the beginning, starting of the work. You know, I do music, I produce music. So whenever anybody, I try to be like, hey, let's make some music. They're like, dude, it's like, I don't know. I tried downloading a program once, and it's like people, I don't know what it is about programs, computer programs. People go, I don't know. I've never been into it. It's like, well, just sit down and play with it. Play with it every day, a couple times, and then you'll get used to it. It's like that. People have these things. It's like, I can't do that. I can't. It's too much. It's just not going your ego's flow way. So to be honest with you, I think that this little guy is the ego. going against the soul and the universal contract. And this goes against contracts too.
Yeah.
Spiritual contracts. So that's why I think that with your karma aspect to this too, it's like, I don't want to do the spiritual contract that I signed up before I came here to do. Oh, that's going to go really good in your life.
Yeah. They're trying to make us weak. I've never heard about the 4-day work week, but it doesn't fucking surprise me because, ever since the fucking TV was invented, well, probably before then, they've been trying to cram into our heads. They've been brainwashing us into becoming weak. That's the whole attack on masculinity nowadays.
Right.
They know they have to make the men weak, simping ass little bitches because they want to fucking take over.
Right.
Anything that you hear being purported on the mainstream that makes things seem easy, stay the fuck away from it. They want to make us weak. And that's all that's going to do. Oh, yes, a 4-day work week. I can sit around on my ass and not do shit. Oh, good. And then eat all this poisonous fucking food and sit around on my ass and watch The Secret and hope that I can just say a couple of affirmations and $1 million is going to come knocking on my door. And meanwhile, they're going to come fucking... It's no good, man. And how the fuck do we... Well, also, too, it makes it really difficult for people like me and you to get the message out there because, they're going to take somebody like me and you and they're going to bury us. And then,
right.
And then they're going to take some of this brainwashing shit and put that at the top of the algorithm and throw it in your face,
Yeah, I was going to add one thing and then I want to jump into that, what you just finished there. But I was going to say, just take a quick shot and that's all you have to do. That really worked. Anything fastest ever, do it, and you'll be fine. Nothing will happen. You won't get sick. Nothing. Go look on the street. You won't get sick. Right. Okay. Same people who are telling you to do 4-day work week. Same people who said, oh yeah, this thing's a miracle. Fucking it happens in 1 second. All you do is just go to a CVS and you're fucking done. And then fucking, so fucking, you have a plaque. I have a plaque on YouTube. Just both of us. You get here and it's the hardest thing in all social media to get. A blue check mark ain't shit. Unless you have a plaque. I forgot the number. It's not a lot. It's like 1,000. Do you know that? It's like 1,000. Like somewhere in the 1,000, like 2,000 plaques. There's not that many channels.
Really?
It's great. Look it up.
Really?
Yeah, and just if you reach over 100,000 doesn't mean you get it. It means you have to be the original content creator the whole time. You can't be just doing videos on other people's content. You have to make the content yourself. That's why it's a content creator award. Okay? But once you get there and you start doing huge numbers and you talk about any of this manifestation shit or anything, and this is why TikTok, Facebook, and all them got rid of advertising for astrology, tarot. We can't even advertise on there anymore. We deal with this now, and we're not stopping. It's not like we're, woe is me, I can't advertise astrology. I made it so far because I was able to advertise on Facebook for my app since 2014 until 2 years ago. You can't even advertise. Can't put an ad out. You can look it up. So that doesn't stop. And the suppression that happens is crazy. When you're doing less views than when you were fucking 20,000 subs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, here's your plaque. Unless you're going our direction, we'll keep you going. But if now we'll just leave you, thanks, you made us a lot of money. Now you don't need to make as much.
Yeah.
You know?
It's funny how the biggest people in the spiritual community, have you noticed they aren't teaching you shit? The people with the biggest numbers in the spiritual community, I haven't learned a goddamn thing from them.
I know.
You know who I learned from? People with the tiniest little channels. Like Naya's Corner of the Universe. She's my spiritual fucking mentor. She would get like maybe 400 views a video.
Right.
She had like 2,000 subscribers. Dude, I would not be here today if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
Like all the biggest influences. Fucking Case with Everyday Masters. He finally made it up to like 56,000 subscribers. He only had like 10,000 when I started following him. dude, I learned so much from the people with the tiny little channels. These people who have like 7, 8, 900,000, a million subscribers in the spiritual community, I don't learn a fucking thing from them. I don't. And it's because, if you're actually out there dropping information that is going to awaken people, they bury you.
No, I mean, you just got to fake being a monk like Jay Shetty and just fucking act like you're just like this holier than thou person and fucking turn the filter of your eyes to make you look like you're some like thing and just throw softballs all day and go with the fucking woke mindset and you're fine. You'll keep going. And that's also going against the universe. Like, you have to be a disruptor. Like, that's the other thing is people are too afraid to disrupt. When the universe is moving things and everybody wants to sit in the matrix bubble that doesn't have change. The matrix doesn't want change. It wants it all to be the same. It wants everything to feel right. And everybody wants to sit in that ease and comfort because that's the ease and comfort of the matrix being like, I don't have to fucking deal with all these disruptors that are trying to break out. And that's what the last 3 years was the devil fucking coming in and fucking being like, I'm stopping. Anybody who was really spiritual did not stop. Mm-hmm. I'm not following. What do you mean? The universe is still flowing. It was a literal mental psychology fucking, the world stopped. The world wasn't stopped. People even say that. The world stopped. What? The world stopped. The fucking shit was still going down the toilets. You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? The electricity was still pumping. Like, people are fucking, woo! That's where people are at though now. Like, my life stopped. No, it's not. You have so much going for you. You're just not going with the flow. I couldn't imagine being just sitting in a place in life and just being like, oh, I can't go anywhere right now or do anything when you have everything available. You're 1% in the whole world if you're an American. 1%. You're the 1% of the world. Then if you're in America and you even are in the 1%, that's the most unique to be. And to get to that place, you don't stop. There's no obstacle that you're not afraid to face because the devil is the mind being like, no, just don't go with this flow. Stay in your lane the way you want to do it. That's the shit in your ear. And you can tell when people are in this place because they're upset, they're mad. You can't use anger and frustration to actually get anything good. You will never get to that place. And you have to be above it all. That's the one thing that this card too is like you're aware of the cycle. You're aware that you have an X factor. Somebody asked like what the spiritual part of the Roman numeral 10 is, and I'll just keep it like 1 minute here, but it's like it's 2 Roman numeral V's, or you can look at it as the letter L for the cross that creates a cross. The X does a lot more than just an X. So all angels are like Raphael, Michael, and they're all angels, if you notice that, in the clouds. So 10 is a masculine number, but it's 2 V's. Roman numeral V's is 5 and 5 that make 10. So it's about, there's a lot more deeper. I go into all my schools with it, but you have to realize that there's also 9 numbers. The 10 is the X factor that changes it all. And what does multiplication do? If you add it, which is you tilt it to the side, which is a cross, you can add as many numbers as you want, and it grows into infinite numbers. If you times anything by 0, it wipes it out.
Wow. And this also kind of reminded me, too, to kind of trail off a little bit. You remember the episode, I kind of touched on it, but I didn't dive all the way into it, about the God and the Satan that they talk about in the Bible?
Right.
Well, I love how Billy Carson breaks it down. Like, the God that they're talking about in the Bible was not the creator of the universe. It was a fucking dude from a different planet who came here. And if you really read the attributes, this dude was an evil motherfucker. And then his brother came in and started telling the humans the truth about how powerful they really are. Started telling them, yo, no, you know that you're actually more powerful than us. You know that, right? And then this dude, God, got mad about that and started telling the humans that's Satan trying to deceive you.
Right.
So it's like the God in the Bible and the Satan in the Bible, the roles are actually reversed. The person that they're looking at as God was actually the one trying to enslave everybody.
Right.
And the one that they're talking about being Satan, he's the one that was actually trying to awaken the people. And like what you were saying about how the Matrix just wants everything to, be locked in place. Well, that's very much, I believe that the powers that be right now are possibly still descendants from the same motherfucker that was the God of the Bible back in the day. And nothing's changed. They're just doing it in different ways. They're still brainwashing you. They're still trying to make you, feel like you're virtuous for giving away all your power. If you play with these and you figure out how to tap into spirit and expand your consciousness, that's evil. You're playing with the devil. That's the devil. You know how many fucking Christians will show up in my inbox?
I know.
And the devil's trying to deceive you. These people are so brainwashed into believing that if you actually awaken to who you really are and tap into source spirit, your higher self, they believe that's the fucking devil. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, all you have to do is pull out a King James Bible and see the genealogy and how God and everything is connected to the king. Or we just saw the anointing of Charles III, and what was it? A secret anointment. Nobody else is allowed to watch it. That's been over 1,000 years going. And if you were to do tarot, it's because you're not doing it in their church. It's like Disneyland if Mickey was coming out and fucking being like, "No, you're having fun, not in my place. How dare you!" I love how fucking South Park makes Mickey a fucking gangster drug dealer. You know what I mean? Because that's actually what's happened. I mean, if you think of the most worst atrocities in the world are from the church. Unfortunately, the most deaths, the most child trafficking, the most sex fucking it's all through the church, So, and there's Apocrypha in the Bible, which it's the hidden book. It sits between the New Testament and the Old Testament, and it fucking literally talks about how to deal with evil spirits. And the church has never made it an official book. So even online, if you go to any Christian page or anything, they're gonna be like, Apocrypha is just, I don't know why it's in there. But it's not, the church has never given that signal on it. It's like they literally say how to deal with evil people and to conjure spirits out of people. And it's in the Bible, but in Apocrypha. But of course, you can get it now, but you'd have to know which version you're buying. But the original books, that I have, it has it all in there. And people just they want to give all their power to something else, especially with this Wheel of Fortune card. It's like the attachment to the cycle that you learn something from. I learned so much by going to church. I learned so much from the Bible. It doesn't mean that I haven't left it fully. It also means that I have evolved it to different places. People don't want to evolve. People don't want to question anything. And they don't, when the cycles come in their life and they're like, well, my pastor just, raped a 12-year-old boy, but, the church is great. They're great people. Wheel of Fortunes come in how many times now? It's like, well, we talk about nobody's cheating, but I remember that couple. Yeah, they just were cheating on each other. They sat next to us for years. It just keeps going on. And I'm not saying that the Christian way of understanding that we're all sinners, but maybe that's also a manifestation tool, right? Like you're all sinners.
No, yeah.
Right? We're all sinners. And you can only be forgiven by one person.
Yeah.
Who was never a god up until 325 AD.
The quick, easy, going back to that, it's the same thing. Christianity, you can go be a piece of shit all week, but the quick, easy way to heaven is to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. Just another quick, easy way to success. Quick and easy, and it's just like that brainwashing is ancient. I know a minute ago I said decades, but now thinking about it from that perspective, that's ancient, dude.
It's ancient.
They've been brainwashing us to go for the quick and easy for thousands and thousands of years.
I know.
Starting back to religion. And now here we are, volunteers, light workers, trying to come undo all that brainwashing, and it can be taxing.
I know. I actually I've saved it. It's in my Dropbox. in like 2012, 2013, 2014, I had churches and pastors calling me from the South, ironically enough. You need to stop doing these tarot videos and astrology videos. You're going to go to hell. Like they would actually like leave long messages and reading me the Bible. Like I would, and I'd be like, I'd ask myself, because I think the Wheel of Fortune is being an observer for everything. It's not a coincidence something's coming in. But I remember it was times in my life where I was having my own doubts of the path because I was like, I don't know. It wasn't because I felt guilty. It was more like, I don't know if people are ready for astrology to be a big thing, like, and make something big out of it. And I don't, right? Like I was having my own self-doubts on an end of like, are people ready? Are people ready to make this cool? Because I can say I was one of the people who made astrology cool. So it was like, people were making fun of it left and right. People today are like, I love talking about signs. 10 years ago? No. 12 years ago? No. It was fucking like,
yeah.
What are you talking about?
You made fun of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I went to a party and when I used to date, it'd be like astrology?
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, you know, like, and people can't even admit that in themselves. They might have liked it inside, but to admit that outside, they didn't. So you have to be an observer with that Wheel of Fortune because everything coming in is an X factor of what direction you're taking. And, you know, a lot of that Christian community takes it as like, no, that's trying to get you to Christ. It's like, oh, yeah, no, you know, the fucking brainwashing of an ancient fucking way for so long. And the only reason why Christianity is here is because of Constantine, who literally just didn't like his mom because she was a pagan. He just didn't want to do what his mom did because he had mommy issues. So he's like, well, I'm going to do the opposite of my mom. I'm going to, these other people like Christ, I'm going to do Christ. So he chose that X factor and look at where it's begun. And that it's like, that's unfortunately like where, you know, we're at an X factor in the world right now. This Wheel of Fortune's pretty extreme for the world. Like we're on the crisis of World War III. We're on the crisis of like all these things, and it's up to people. And a lot of people are turning to revelations and the world's ending and all that when they're not looking at, no, this is the new world beginning. They're not evolving. They're wanting to go down with the ship. I'm ready to be the captain on Titanic with JC and go down. It's like, that sounds like the best depopulation fucking brain fucking shit ever. Shit. You're going down for a good cause. And JC's waiting for you when you go down.
Man, it's sad. It's really sad. But I mean, I get overwhelmed with those feelings. And I was talking about this. I was driving up here on my way here. I went live on Instagram while I was driving, and I mentioned that, you know, sometimes, you know, if you're a real fucking light worker, you know, not just somebody who claims that title because they think it makes them sound cool. But if you're actually here doing fucking light work, I think we all go through that. Where it's like, am I even fucking making a difference? Is my work even amounting to anything? Are the people even ready for this? You know, I think we all go through that. I know I do. Still to this day from time to time, you know. I think so. I mean, real light work, like if you're really here and you're on fucking mission, it's not a fucking game. That's one thing that pisses me off more than anything is seeing people out here that are trying to make a fucking game out of it just for their ego. It's not a fucking game. Like, this shit's happening now.
I know.
For the past, like, decade or so, a lot of us, we've been in the talking phase, you know? Like, you know, you need to awaken. You need to start expanding your consciousness and this and that. And we were warning the population of what was to come. And, of course, they fucking laughed at us. And now we're in it. Like, we're in the middle of it now. This shit's splitting off now. And it's not a game, dude. It's not a game. And those of us who are really here on mission and working our asses off to do the best that we can to unwire this old brainwashing bullshit, I think we all go through that. And I've even seen some people fall off. Like they just get so frustrated and so fed up with it. Because you got to come up with, I tell people all the time, you know, I used to make videos saying like a message to my fellow starseeds. Like, we come here with a mission. And the mission is in your own idiosyncratic way to assist in the shift from the old world to the new world. That's your mission. Now, if you think you're just going to come here and kick the fucking matrix apart, you're sadly mistaken. They have spent way too long building this. And the brainwashing is so deep that the best thing you can do is find a long-term human and listen to them. listen to figure out how to play some of these human games. Like you do it beautifully. Like I fucking sit here and I look around at this shit and I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker done figured out the human game. And then while you're playing the human game, then plant your seeds from within the human game. And that makes a much, much better impact, I think. You know?
I was going to say, because it's not a game, the light work.
Right.
Don't fall for the game, which is I'm trying.
Yeah.
You don't get anything. I'm trying to do this. You're never going to get there. I mean, I haven't put it on social because I'm respecting, but my best friend died yesterday. You hit me up this morning. You saw my horoscope. I fucking have never done a horoscope where I didn't have my hair done. I literally am at my new place, just built the computer. My best friend of my whole life passed away yesterday, and fucking, I'm here. It's not a fucking game. And even when I was doing this, the reason why I have a track record of doing a video every fucking day for 11 years is I've blown up my car, walked here, bruised, had the fucking medics fucking look at me and be like, I mean, you shouldn't do it. And fucking walked up on this stage an hour later and fucking done my shows. I don't know what any situation, you name it. Dad dying, fucking the worst situations, breakup, divorce, what you name it, and all the good situations in life too, because that's the other thing that can attract you. Like, well, I mean, we're going to a baseball game, or, oh, you know what, we're going to here, we're going to... Still doesn't stop me from doing the work because it ain't a fucking game. And I think you're right. Like, we're at the point, and it's weird that you say that because that's what the astrology said for this last week. That's what this new moon on the Pleiades was. That's what this new moon with all these massive, intense aspects is. It's not a game. You can't be doing the whole, I'm going to complain and I'm not going to do it and I'm not going to expand my consciousness. I'm not going to, and people say that I'm doing it. I'm doing the consciousness thing. I'm doing the awareness thing. It's like, you're not even doing, like, what's your little block right now? It's like, that's your block? Like, that's fucking, you don't get to anywhere if you can't even get through the little things. And people got upset with me last week when I was like showing my chart and how it's being hit the hardest of anybody you could probably show. Show me a chart getting hit harder. And fucking yesterday was exact. And I thought I was like, well, I'm doing all right. And then I got that call. It fucking gut wrenched me out. But do you think I stopped? And all the memories, I still have to process it. That's a thing of the steps too. You just don't stop and go, well, this happened, it's over. I'm not going to do anything now. You have to keep going on with your life. And especially in these times, you can't be fucking around. There's going to be losses on the battlefield of anything in your life, a job or whatever. You can't stop. You have to keep moving with the flow. The devil stops you. Oh, stop. Perfect. We got him. We got him chilled out where he's not doing the light work. Perfect. And it'll throw everything at you in the world, the worst shit ever. And you just got to be like, well, that's not stopping me. I'm still going to do it. And people just don't, people aren't ready because if I have my kids to do with this. I'm about to have a kid and it ain't going to stop me. You have kids, it doesn't stop you. I have this, I can't do it. Pfft. Really? Yeah, even when the good shit comes around, trust me, there's those moments where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I could just cancel everything and I'll just do it tomorrow. No, I got to do it. Because I would go do the good thing and that it's exciting and it would feel like shit. Mm-hmm. Right? Or I could just revel in the bad thing and then feel worse because I'm not doing the good shit, which is this work. Everything is tied to the center. This whole card's about looking at the center, which is the work, and understanding the whole process of the whole divination, divine order, synchronicity, manifestation life that's in a cycle that you as a soul choose to connect with. That's really the highest secret of manifestation, is you and the universe in tandem together. Mm-hmm. There is no other way at all.
Yeah. It's real work. And I'm trying to think of a good term to use because I need a better word, because I say it's not a game and then I call it the human game, and you know that sounds kind of confusing. But this matrix, okay, the human 3D matrix. You come here, you're a light worker, you have a job. It's a job. It's not something to puff your ego up. It's work. You know, I stopped promoting people. I used to promote people,
Right.
you know, because I'd be like, oh man, it looks like you know what you're doing. It looks like you know what you're talking about. Okay, I'll boost you up. I'll put your name out there. And then they didn't want to actually
Do it.
do it. They didn't want to do it. It's work. It's real work. And like, it's hey, some of the most frustrating work you can do. You know, people say, oh, so that dude right there is flipping these tarot cards and he's internet popular and he makes a bunch of money. Well, I want to do that. It's like, no, that's not what this is about. And people they just want to go play a game with it. And like what you were talking about a minute ago when you said they're owning, like, oh, I learned how to cook. Now I want to be a chef. And it's like, yeah, that's what people are doing with the tarot too.
Yeah.
Oh, I flipped a couple of tarot cards. Now I want to be this tarot card reader. And you see people on social media, you know, their name is such and such tarot. And there's, oh, come to me for personal readings and this and that. And like they're trying to get out there and then the work that has to be done. What we're here to do is we're here to actually infiltrate this fucking matrix and plant seeds from the inside.
Right.
And man, it's taxing.
It's the behind the scenes before the public of the work that you do before. That's when you know. And it's something that finds you. Tarot, astrology, the divination. You don't seek it.
Oh yeah.
It finds you. Mm-hmm. And then once it finds you, you go through integrating it into your life for long periods of time till finally you get to a point to where you feel the calling that your mission as a light worker is here. It is not, and the times are not, there is no time. So it can be fast for some and it can be longer for others. There is no time, but there is time. Mm-hmm. There is the whole processing moment. It is not, I seek it, look at their life. They're a tarot card reader. They do great. I want to do that too. That you're already going to lose.
Yeah.
You're going to lose. It's just like me being like, I love baseball and I played it till Little League. But in high school, I chose volleyball instead of baseball. I just had this feeling like to go play volleyball, and I was a water polo player, and it was just like oxymoron to do that. But I'm like, fuck it, that's what I wanted to do. And we went to CIF playoffs, all that shit. The baseball team didn't, and I'm happy. But that'd be like me right now being like, because I play MLB The Show, that's the only game I play, and it'd be like, I'm gonna go fucking join the Angels or the Dodgers right now. I'm gonna go fucking be shortstop right now, and I'm gonna go hit fucking 50 home runs this year.
Yeah.
It's like, I bet you I probably could, but at 38, gonna be 39 in about a month. Fuck. I'd have to, it's like you don't realize all the little things. Oh shit, I would have to quit drooling. I'd probably have to quit, I'd have to do this, I'd have to do that, I'd have to integrate this. Oh my God. Would it be like to slide into home base fucking again? You know what I mean? At this age, this problem. And it's not even an age thing, but just like to prepare. I've been jet ski racing, so I'm built for that at the moment, but So that's why you can do whatever you want, but it's got to be aligned. Like it's one of those things. Like baseball fell out of my life. I didn't fall out of baseball. Jet skiing came into my life, and I stayed with it, and it aligned to win championships. It's not the other way around. You don't go seek it. And even this card, they're not seeking it. The only person seeking anything is the fucking devil. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing. Like, seek Jesus. I'm a seeker. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a little, like that's a really good way to come into my church. There's a little corner room where you can confess all your sins.
Oh shit.
And do you want to come closer and confess? I have what you need to do.
Yeah, I like how you said that it you don't seek it, it comes and finds you. Because I know that I've mentioned it a few times that I didn't want to do it when I first started. Like what was really going on behind the scenes, I was obsessed with it, but I was embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
So it was a big secret.
Yeah.
I worked at this car wash up in Maine, up in Farmington, Maine. It was called the Farmington Car Wash. And during the summertime, it was so weird up there because it would get really slammed during the winter. Because of the
That's
shit.
what you told me. That made sense, though.
Yeah. The shit they would put on the roads for the ice would corrode your brake lines. So in the summer, nobody got their car washed. So I'd be sitting there for 11 hours with nothing to do but a phone, and I would obsessively watch these tarot card videos, and I thought it was so cool. these things got these cool fucking pictures on them, and the way these people shuffle them, it just looks so cool. And not only that, but I have this situation that I'm trying to gain clarity on, but it's a big secret. If I see somebody coming, I put my phone away. You know, even the girl I was dating for the longest time didn't even know how obsessed I was with it until I bought my own cards.
Right.
You know, and I wasn't seeking that. I wasn't seeking that. Oh, hell no. And then nobody was supposed to watch the first few videos that I put. I didn't look at it. And if you think about it, this is so funny too. The science of manifestation, I put my videos on YouTube and didn't look at it and didn't think about it.
Right.
For like 2 weeks. And then when I finally looked at it, it had blown up. And I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. Then immediately, me and the girl I was dating, everything started going wrong. I had to leave and, you know, lost my job. And then here I am. Everybody's begging me for personal readings. I didn't want to do that.
Right.
I didn't want to do that. Like, it's not something, I don't care if it's tarot. I don't care if it's being a psychic. You know, if you're going out and chasing after it, it's going to run from you.
Yeah.
It's not something that it's not something that you go. People ask me all the time, am I supposed to be a tarot card reader? And I'd be like, well, are you a tarot card reader? Are you? That'll tell you if you're supposed to be. Start doing it. Start doing it and see what happens. If you have something to say that the universe deems as valuable for people to hear, they will come to you, you know? And man, I don't know.
Well, I think you have to be happy, one, with if just yourself is happy doing the light work, and if you help one person.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not about how many, like, you're doing the light work. I remember most people know my first couple years where every video was outside. Because indoors, lighting was bad. It was old cameras, and I didn't have a camera. It was my webcam that's built into the fucking old compact Presario laptop that was fucking broken, and the hinge was broken. And I didn't have enough battery. But the second somebody walked by, while me doing a horoscope, I'd stop. I was so embarrassed, and I was so...
Yeah.
I'd fucking be like, fuck, I just used 15 minutes of my battery. And then 15 minutes left, and I got, all right. And then if somebody walked by, I just got to do it.
Yeah.
But doing it outside every day for so many years, it's insane how many years, every day. That was the other thing, the dedication to drive, walk to the locations every day and upload a video. And back then, it wasn't like the internet was that fast.
Oh, dude, man.
And you're right. You just let it go. And I remember being like, you know, I remember I was like, I'm helping these... it's not about how many people or how many views or what. It's just I'm helping people, and this is going to be the biggest trigger ever, especially about the Wheel of Fortune. The fortune only comes to those that are aligned.
Yeah.
So you could be doing it and be like, I'm not getting anywhere with it, and The people who got there were aligned.
Yeah.
They were aligned spiritually. They followed the cues. So it's not about what haven't I done yet that I'm not getting there? And why am I not? Do I need to push it more? It's like you are just, now you're off the alignment.
Yeah.
There's a natural flow when it just feels like, I'm going to do this right now. The light work's telling me to do this. All right, I'm going to go do this. You're not doing it by if you're successful or not. You're doing it what the light work is calling you to. That's the same thing with this card. What is the divine calling you to do? Mm-hmm. People would have never believed me on a fucking... the side of a road, this little fake man-made lake I lived by for all those years doing astrology would ever be where it's at right now. Mm-hmm. And it was like, nobody. Actually, my best friend who just passed did. He believed. And that's how you know it's a best friend. There's best friends, and then there's your best friend. And to lose your best friend is the hardest thing, but you want to have those people in your life that trust you on the light work path, and even if they don't understand it, they love you and they love what you're doing. That's how you know it's a true person in your life. There's a lot of people who think, you know, other things about you. Those aren't your friends. If they don't understand it, I don't know. You're going to go do that thing. There's so many people like that. It's like, it doesn't, I think a true light worker, it doesn't matter who you come to. whatever they're doing, you look at beyond whatever it is. And even if you don't understand it, you're willing to appreciate them as a person and appreciate who they are. You know, you're in a bad place, or you're a fake light worker. If you're somebody who's like, yeah, you know, I'm just like, if you're just constantly pent up with anger, resentment, and in the past, that's not even that great. It's not even that great, because your greatest energy is only found when you're dead. So whatever you think is so great about your past, use it. But your greatest past is what you leave here at the end of your life, period. That's a hard one for people, because it's like, well, it was so good then. It's like, no. We'll know. History will tell whether it was even memorable or not.
Yeah.
Like use it for your own little like guide, but don't hold yourself there. Fuck. You know?
Yeah. And yeah, people do get mad whenever you say that about if it's aligned. You know, the people who end up in that position are aligned. But I mean, it's not like if you are an aspiring tarot card reader or psychic and you're not aligned, that doesn't mean you're not aligned for anything.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. Like, everybody's aligned for something. And our ego brains feed into these illusions of success and this and that. And we think we're going to figure out what it is. And if you're pushing for it and it's not happening, then you're not aligned for that. But that doesn't mean you're not aligned for something.
Right.
You got to learn how to follow those universal cues, like you said. And dude, with the internet and shit, dude, when I started, I had a Samsung Galaxy J7.
Yeah.
It was like a $100 Walmart Go
I
phone.
remember that phone.
Yeah, and it would take me 6 hours to upload one video.
Yeah.
So I would sit and I would record like 3 or 4 videos a day, and it would take me all week to get those videos uploaded. Like, all week. And I would have to sit and keep watching it.
I tell you, those are my favorite videos.
Yeah, those were, it's very similar. I'd be sitting somewhere, and that happened to me a couple of times. Somebody'd walk by, I'd stop. I would stumble on my words. I would stop and start the video over again.
Yeah.
Real embarrassed, feeling stupid, and, you know, and I didn't think that it would go anywhere. I can remember I would get so mad because I was lost too. I was looking for guidance too. And I would go do the same thing everybody else does.
I remember you were on some alley, and I was like, do you work at a car shop or something? I was trying to figure out in your old videos, like, does he work at like a car shop, or does he work at... but you were in like an industrial like area where there's like work happening and stuff, but you're just like sitting in the alley.
Yeah.
Like the most just like... You know, it's so funny with the whole spiritual community, like, oh, the aesthetic of like the mountains and the right? It's like some of the best shit said in an alley.
Yeah, I was actually unemployed.
You know?
The videos that you're talking about, I was actually unemployed. I was fresh off the streets, couldn't hold a stable job, and at that particular time, I was living with this couple in downtown Louisville, Kentucky, trying to find a job. Every now and then I'd scrape up enough change to go get me a couple of beers or something like that. And I would slam me a couple of beers, catch a little buzz, and had nothing to do. So I was just trying to stay out, keep myself busy. And I would go find a little alleyway and sit down drunk and make a video about an astrology sign. Like, I never thought it would go anywhere, you know? And then all of a sudden, a year and a half later, one of my videos is being recommended to me in my own feed. And I'm like, I put that on YouTube? I was drunk. When I recorded those videos. Every last one of them, I was fucking drunk. And I don't remember putting them on YouTube because I didn't even know how to work YouTube on a fucking phone. But I guess in my drunken stupor, I was like, well, let me see if I can put this on YouTube. I guess. I don't even fucking remember. But then a year and a half later, some of them had blown up and they were getting recommended to me in my own feed. Yeah. And I didn't even remember how to log into that channel. So that's why I was like, well, I wonder, because it's the same name, Rich Lopp, my first and last name, I wonder if I can put videos on this channel and the algorithm will link my face and my name up to the people who watch that, and I can just pick up where I left off on this channel, and that's where it started. And it was just out of boredom. I wasn't really trying to do light work. I was bored, and I had so many loud conversations going on in my head, so many frustrations, and I would take my frustration out on the camera. Not thinking that it would go anywhere. And
Well, then what was the X factor moment for you to switch it from I wasn't doing it for the light work to doing it for the light work?
Well, when I found myself in that position, like I said, it got to the point to where the universe had backed me into a corner and I had no choice. This was my only source of income. And then I was having this internal mental battle because it was like, no, my focus is manifestation. People in the tarot community, the mentality they have is the future just randomly happens to me and I have no control of it. Well, I don't even look at life that way. I look at life from the perspective of I create my future. So why does the universe even have me in this position? And then I started thinking, well, what if I could read tarot in such a way that I could lay out a spread of what happened in the past and talk about how that was manifested. And then whenever I look at what's coming in the future, I can tell you, but if you don't want that to happen, here's how you change timelines. Because any reader can tell you that you can change the outcome of a reading. But I've never seen a reader who can tell you exactly how to do that. So I wonder if I could do that. And that's when it kind of started clicking. And I this was probably within the first 6 to 8 months of me reading. And I was like, well, I couldn't sleep at night. I felt guilty being one of those readers who just brings people in and keeps them spinning in circles waiting on their ex to come back. And that's what most readers out there are doing.
Yeah.
You know, oh, they're coming back. Oh, okay, they're coming back. Oh, the next month, same thing. Oh, they're coming back. You know, and they're just sitting there waiting on nothing. I'm like, well, what if I could be like the first fucking tarot card reader on YouTube to not leave you sitting around waiting on some future that is just going to randomly happen to you, but what if I can say one thing in one of my readings, give a piece of advice? I started giving advice. So maybe somebody can hear a piece of advice and they can take that and say, okay, well, Rich said do this. Instead of sit around and wait on something to happen, what if I can take action and do something and take control of my own future?
Yeah.
So then hopefully the goal is, my intention is that when you watch one of my videos or you come to me for a personal reading, I send you on your way with some kind of tool or some kind of knowledge that you can apply to your path moving forward so that you don't need me ever again. You don't need a tarot card reader. Most of these readers out here, the analogy I always use is they're like your buddy sitting next to you in math class giving you the answer to the test. That's not fucking helping you.
Right.
What are you going to do the next time you run into a problem like that? Just ask your friend again for the answer? That's what most readers out here are doing. I want to be the fucking teacher.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about me. I'm just a regular ass human. I fucking put my pants on one leg at a time and wipe my ass when I shit, just like you, you know? So like there's this image in the spiritual community, we've talked about this 100 times, where somebody out there is more awakened and more enlightened than me and they have the answers. And this person is up on this big pedestal. No, none of us are up on no fucking pedestal. No. We're all equal. We all have the same power. We all have equal access to the universe. It's not a gift, it's a choice. And my goal, my intention is to eventually make my job become obsolete. My goal is to hopefully get to the point where everybody that listens to me, if they choose to apply some of the advice to their life, don't need tarot card readers anymore. The biggest, best compliment that I get, and I hear this very frequently, is I got one reading from Rich, never needed another fucking reading ever again because I create my future. Right. That's my goal.
It's a fucking good fucking light worker motto, because the truth is that if we take this card, what if tarot, astrology, or anything is part of its cycle out?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's the whole thing. It's like, for me, my X Factor was 2012. Like, this is not a game. It's coming. And it was like, all right. I remember sitting under a waterfall and I had done horoscopes and done some videos, but I wasn't doing it every day or anything like that. And I remember I read Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciak. And I remember being activated by that book. And I was on Soul Garden with Chris Witecki, and he was all about light work. And so I was like, it's time to fully fucking do this work. And I told the universe under this, I asked God underneath this waterfall that I'd hiked up to, like, if I can just do what I love to do to help people, and you could just provide back just for me to survive, just to have a life to where I'm like able to eat and not worry about just life itself. If I show up and do the work, will you bring it back? And it literally did. I started a video every day and it never stopped. And it was all about the light work in 2012 and preparing people for 2012. Like, this is not a fucking joke. This is a game. This is the activation. And I've never treated it as a joke, nor even over 10 years now from 2012 that we're in, coming up 13 this year. It's like, people are behind. It already happened. Mm-hmm. It's never going back again. That's the other part I like about this card is evolution. There is no, when is it going to be normal again? What do you mean? That in the past is not normal. This is normal now. This is what the time is now. Mm-hmm. And so being a light worker is about not being afraid of watching the world change. If you're afraid of change, get out of this work.
Change is the goal.
When you're ready for change, get into this work, because then, people, you wonder why people just are so unhappy in this world. It's because they don't like change. They want to stay in the same place, same situation, and just have it and hold it forever. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what this devil is. Like, I'm just going to hold all of it the same way. And I want to also go back. It also is going backwards. I want to go backwards. I want to try and relive this old place. It's like, geez, you can't relive the old past. It'll fuck you up bad because you're missing out on what's better next. The past is great, but it's the building block to the next fucking great thing that's even greater.
Create some new memories.
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing. Because, I mean, I understand that feeling. I totally understand looking back in the past to a time that was shitty and being like, man, those were the good old days. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make these the good old days for my future self. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Change is not easy. And I'm a fixed sign too. I struggle with change. It sucks. But I think the thing that most people don't understand is that the pain and the discomfort that comes with change is only temporary. But the pain and the discomfort that comes from repeating the same cycle over and over is permanent. And I don't know where that... I want to find the source of that illusion, the source of like where people get the idea that they're going to stay in the same spot for the rest of their life in their little comfort zone, because you're not. If you're sitting still, that's an illusion. You're not sitting still. If you're sitting still, you're getting worse. You're sliding down. I know. Like, we think we use this phrase plateau, but honestly, if you really want to look at it, there is no plateau. You're either climbing the mountain or you're sliding down it. The more time passes, if you sit on your ass and do nothing, you're not actually sitting on your ass doing nothing. You're getting worse. You're deteriorating. You're withering away. You're getting weaker. You're getting dumber. You're backsliding. And that's exactly what they want you to fucking do.
Yeah. I mean, some people in here are saying like, well, it feels like you guys don't talk to elders. It's not about love or money. And I'm just like, it's because a lot of elders don't want to keep evolving. I just did a reading a month ago for an astrologer of over 50 years who's in her mid 80s, and it was one of the best readings ever. And there's a lot of people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s who watch because they're on the light work path.
Yeah.
The real level is about doing the light work. Like, and those elders know that. Mm-hmm. Which is exactly what this whole entire card and what we've been saying this whole time has been about. Like, like there is no, like you said, plateau. Like, retirement is your death.
Yeah.
It's your death wish. It's in the studies too. 3 years on average for a man after they retire, they're going to run into a heart attack, get a stent, or it happens all the time. And that's the problem is people, especially if you're not moving or doing something. My grandmother's 93. My other grandmother who died at 94, they never stop. They still do the activities they love. They still do the spiritual work. They never stop. There's no such thing as I'm just going to stop and do nothing and just watch the fucking, It just, and I bet you there's people who are elders in here watching who could tell you all that. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, because they see through and they understand whether they're examples of a relationship or money, it's all the same energy that's frequency that's transmitting in other ways.
Yes.
That's what you're not getting
Yeah.
out there. You're too caught up in your fucking surface shit to fucking see. You're like, no, fucking, you're just talking about money. Talk about what I want to hear. Something deeper. No, you can't even see the depth. And your depth is so shallow because you actually think that depth looks like something.
Yeah, money. Yeah, man, money is the paper that has Ben Franklin's head on it. That's a manifestation of an energy.
Yeah.
And how the fuck do you explain that and get people to understand it?
I know.
But as far as elders go, if you sit back and you observe, people reach a certain point when they're creeping up into that elder stage, and either their consciousness expands or it contracts and gets smaller. We all know we've met that elder who they get so stuck in their ways that their mind shrinks. You know?
Yep.
Like they have that box of beliefs and set in their ways. And then once you cross into that line of that elder phase of your life, if you're fixed on your little box of beliefs and your little perceptions of the world, and you're still looking at things the way you did when you was 30 and 40, that's collapsing in on you, and your mind gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But then there's also those people who creep up into that elder phase where they realize, no, I'm going to experience more than this. And their mind expands. They grow and they evolve. And those elders who stay stuck in their ways, they're always the people who think that just because they're older, they're smarter than you. It's like, not really.
Yeah,
Not
the awake ones are opposite. They don't feel that at all. And they're not the ones commenting. They're not the ones wasting their time in comments or in chats. Yeah. They're observing. Yeah. Just like the Wheel of Fortune. And they're observing, this is the next moment. I have to keep. And there's such well-oiled machines of flowing with the universe. Yeah. Observing when they need to, moving on to the next thing. And that's the Saturn return at 59, right? That's the fucking Uranus opposition at 84, or Uranus conjunction. Like people, you either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
And there is no moment where it's like, I'm done. Any elder who says I'm done, it's over at that point. Yeah. I don't see. I mean, I think the best, elder, but he's a movie. But it's Clint Eastwood. That motherfucker is still fucking making movies in his 90s, directing, producing movies, and he never stopped. And then people wonder, how's he so old? How's he still going? Well, because he's got a meaning. Yeah. And he's been very involved, especially with all this crazy shit over the last 3 years. That's why I was like, Clint Eastwood saying this? Fuck yeah, we listen to our elders. Like, that motherfucker had the balls to stand up and say this shit's wrong or not right. Mm-hmm. It blows my mind how, and that's what's sad in the elder community, the ones that just observe but are too afraid to still say something when it really matters. Mm-hmm. The ones that did, I mean, what? Look at how many elders over their 60s spoke out against the bullshit over the last few years. Mm. A shit ton. Yeah. So, and then there was a shit ton that were like, no, I'm not going to say anything. Just, you know what? I don't want people to know if I like Trump or not. So I'll vote for Biden and I'll just sit here and fucking...
Yeah, and you're right. They're not the ones commenting. They're not. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you're an elder or not. I mean, I remember on my path, there was plenty of times where I would see somebody, a content creator on the internet in the spiritual community that I completely disagreed with. Do you think I took my energy and wrote this comment? I'm going to make this person rethink his whole life with this comment.
Right.
No. I was like, I got a camera in my fucking pocket. I'm going to put my face out there. And I'm going to speak my perspective. I'm not
your face, not your feet.
Yeah. I'm not going to waste my energy in the comment section thinking I'm going to make this person rethink his fucking life. That's what I say to anybody that disagrees with anything that I have to say. Pull the fucking camera out and tell the world how it's done.
Right.
You're misusing your energy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
every single elder astrologer that I've studied with and that I'm still friends with, and I'm so blessed they're still around, they observe and don't say anything. And then there'll be random moments when they know to step in and just be like, oh no, and they won't even say much, but when they do, they'll say, because they know exactly what to say at the right moment, but they'll always be like, oh no, I'm watching. But you would never know.
Mm-hmm.
But they know when, they just know right, they know right when the X Factor's shown up to just slide in and be like, hey. And it's always like, you knew exactly when to get a hold of me. And some people look at that like today in the younger generation, like it's synchronistic. It's like, no, the elders are the ones that are, it's more than just synchronicity. They are the synchronicity themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They become the X Factor. When you get to your elder, you are the X Factor in everybody's life. You know when to show up at the right moment at the right time that's divinely aligned. You don't try to, they're not stressed out. They're not, oh my God, you need to change this right now. You know, you don't see some true elder that does this work going like, and getting involved into every fucking problem. But they know right when to show up. And they only are friends with people that they know don't bug them back. That's one of the best things I ever learned young, being a young astrologer at the astrology conferences. Like, oh yeah, no, it'll be whenever the divine time comes, which is so Wheel of Fortune. It's like when the divine time comes, then we'll have a talk about it or whatever. It's like if you try and bug an elder, the worst thing you can do. Don't bug anybody that is the supreme beings here right now. Like, don't. Yeah. Not worth it. They don't want to talk to you about some little, what do you think about this? They'll talk to you when it's a fucking X Factor. They'll talk to you after the divorce. They'll talk to you after the situation. They'll talk to you maybe a moment before when they know something's about to happen. They don't talk to you when you're in the middle of the crisis, though. Because then if you're a true teacher, to become better, the student to become the teacher, a true teacher lets you be the student that evolves to become a teacher. And you have to have that moment where you're not wearing the training wheels anymore, where you're not fucking having the little rainbow fucking band that's holding the fucking kid around. I can't believe that they had those. But that's how you know it's an elder, is they're going to let you become the teacher. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to feel egotistical about it. They're not going to feel threatened by it. They're going to just be like, yep, okay, go. You know? But they will set boundaries if you're copying them and not giving credit. Or if you know what I mean? Like, but anybody that gets to that point, it's just like, even then, it's like you say your piece and then you just move on. Then they watch and observe, like, yeah, they weren't it. Like you said, you used to promote so many people. It's like, fuck, I mean, running this network.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of great people that have come out from it. But, you know, it's a lot of people that want to do the work. And so to answer that elder question, which I think that's kind of what this Sphinx is at the top, is the elder that has the truth, that knows and knows how to observe and knows how to go with it on every moment. Michael Luton always says, and it's a funny expression, we're always chasing something and running away from something. That's the problem. If you're trying to chase something, or you're trying to run away from something, boy, that's not a good place to be. Because right as you're chasing something, you're running away from something. Everybody's trying to run away from sometimes the most amazing thing in their life. To chase something that's just going to be just fucking, oh, I got it, and then gone. Mm-hmm. And that's how you know you're addicted to not being in flow. You're addicted to your ego going, I'm changing this, I'm letting go of this, I'm running away from that, I'm running with no meaning and no natural progression. Like your journey to here from Vegas was a natural progression. It wasn't like you just went, I'm waking up and we're going to fucking move to SoCal right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was talks, there was debates, it was processing and watching the universe for the signs. It wasn't like, I'm just going up and I'm going over here, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's now when I talk about these things, I know it sounds like I'm being negative, and my intention is not to be negative. It's to shine a light on that part of the path that nobody else talks about.
Right.
You know, because one thing that I see a lot, clients come to me all the time and they'll ask, what am I doing wrong? What am I not seeing? What is it that I need to know. And the reason they're asking this is because they got on the spiritual path and then they started encountering challenges and obstacles. And their first thought is, what am I doing wrong? And the reason why they're wondering what they're doing wrong is because nobody out here is talking about that part.
Right.
Nobody out here is talking about the hard part. Nobody out here is talking about the sucky part and the shitty part.
I know.
So, how do you be that person that shines the light just so that you'll be aware that it's there? How do you do that without sounding negative? It's kind of hard,
I was going to say, when coming back to like tarot readings, right? When I did Deep Love Tarot for all those years, it was like, people were like, he just doesn't like this one sign. I'm like, do you think I'm manipulating the cards?
Right.
And it's one of those things to where it's cycles in life. Like it just, and even with astrology, like you don't like this one sign. It's 1 year, it's this sign, or this month, it's that sign, or right. And it's like, this is the cycle, and fucking, it just is what it is. It's not, and it teaches people the lesson that most people aren't getting is that it's not fluffy every week. Sometimes there are these great moments, and then they pass to something else.
Yeah.
Every week's got its bumps. Every week's got its issues. Some weeks don't, though. Some weeks just fly by like, woo, that was nice, and you should appreciate that shit.
Yeah.
But it's like people are just thinking, well, it's a negative read, and then I'm leaving the Leo King and I'm moving on to another channel because they're more fluff. And that's what you see is I'm moving to more fluff, and then it's like, now I'm getting out of this. I'm going to Jesus where everything's fluff. Even though if I'm a sinner and I need to be afraid of God, I need to be afraid of God. I'm like, wow.
I mean, it's like, that would be like accusing the weatherman of not liking your city because he's telling you it's going to rain. It's like, well, first of all, the simple fact that you're here watching this tarot card reading means that something in your life is fucked up. You wouldn't be here watching this video if you didn't have a fucked up situation in your life. So I'm talking about how fucked up the situation is, and you think that's me not liking your sign?
Right.
The fuck? Like, that's the reason why, going back to what I was talking about a minute ago, we got to get people to spread their own wings and fly. We've got to get people to understand how these situations were manifested. And if you want to see a brighter future, here's a couple of things you can do just to take control of your own energy. And hopefully, that's the reason why I'll talk about manifesting money. It's not about money. It's about, once you figure out how to take control and manifest one thing, I don't care if it's money, I don't care if it's your fucking dream, I don't care what it is. You figure out how to manifest one thing, that'll start a domino effect in your brain, and the blindfold will come off, and you'll see how this whole fucking matrix runs and operates. It'll all start making sense, And then eventually, hopefully, if you have the drive and the will to actually climb the mountain and make your dreams come true, you'll be able to escape this addiction to guidance. That's another thing you see a lot of in the spiritual community. People get addicted to guidance. How many people are still sitting in the same spot today, listening to the same spiritual teacher that they were 10 years ago, and they've made no progress in their life?
I know.
None. Because they're addicted to the guidance. They're addicted. It's like entertainment. It's become a form of entertainment. And this is not fucking entertainment.
Right.
It's not a damn game. Okay. It's the age of fucking Aquarius. It's time for us to see and understand who we really are, what this matrix really is, what we're really doing here, and change the fucking game.
Yes. Well, somebody in here was just like, why all the Jesus-ish? And I'm just like thinking, I'm like, all right. Throw it as if somebody was saying something about astrology. So, why all the astrology-ish? Like, the whole thing is like, do you even know if those are Jesus' words for real? Number one. And they've been told by all these, let's not forget, thousands of years of people that have carried the message. Mm-hmm. It's been tweaked. So, like, Jesus-ish? Do you think I was talking shit on Jesus or the way that people follow Jesus? Mm-hmm. It's the way. I'm not talking shit on Jesus. I'm talking shit on the way that it's been taught to people, the way that it's been programmed. So, like, when people get all, that means that you can't even handle looking at it, it's like, thou shalt not talk anything negative or even question about this programmed reality of how belief of Jesus should be. That's how you know you're programmed. That's how you know, boom, that just hit your little switch. Beep. If somebody talks shit, which, by the way, all day people talk shit on astrology, do you think that triggers me? Do you think I'm like, oh, God, they're talking mad? No. Like, if you're that triggered by fucking that, you don't go with the flow at all. You're going your own way. Oh, no, this is the way. Only way. The only way. There is multiple ways to go. And that's the problem. And then this person goes, just a question, bro. Chill. Quantum Love 8. You're allowed to have your way. It's more like you just projected. You should chill. Like all this Jesus-ish, man.
His name wasn't even fucking Jesus.
I know. That's the whole point.
You know what I think? You know what I'm fascinated with when it comes to Jesus? Which his name was Yeshua, by the way. His name wasn't fucking Jesus.
I know.
But what I'm fascinated with has nothing to do with anything that's in the Bible.
Right.
When he disappeared from age 12, in between age 12 and age 33,
I know.
That's the most fascinating part of that motherfucker's life.
Yeah.
Where he went off to Egypt.
I know.
And he went and started studying Reiki and reconnective healing, all this shit. Which I don't know if you know this or not, but I was reconnected too. I play with the quantum field. I can feel it in my hands, and I give Leah healing sometimes if she's feeling sick and whatnot. But all these things, Jesus went off and learned how to tap into this energy, and then he came back and tried to teach it, and then they fucking killed him.
I know.
And that's what I want to know, though. I want to know the shit that's not in the Bible.
Right.
That little book, it's only about this thick, which if you were to really read the actual book, it'd be about this fucking thick.
Right.
You know, it was all these books were pulled out and the words were manipulated and twisted around. And they said, here, believe this shit and don't ask any fucking questions.
Right.
You know? And I want to know, I want to study the ancient texts where he went from age 12 to 33.
Well, yeah, and he went all the way to like Mongolian Empire and to China, like all the way, like what we knew of is then. It wasn't even then. But that's what's crazy is he went so far east and he went on his travels and he came back. It's said that he went with his mother Mary too. So it's like even the anointing oil that was used by the three wise men on Jesus is a very special oil, not anywhere found near there. It's like people are so... By the way, the three wise men that were astrologers.
Yeah.
But I have an old book that they don't print anymore. It's called The Fourth Wise Man. That there was a fourth who decided not to follow the other three. It's an interesting book. It's a book that says that there was a fourth wise man who was like, that's nice, but there's more important shit than putting all this praise on this one person. And kept following the astrology to other places. So people don't think about that. Yeah. I mean, there's 4 angels in here, you know, and that's where you get the idea of the Trinity. It was the fourth wise man was pulled out.
Doesn't surprise me.
You know?
Doesn't surprise me. Every time I hear, you know, anything about one of those books that's not in the Bible, it's like, dude, what we need to do, and I think that we will, I firmly believe that with the people out there like Billy Carson and, you know, the people who are pushing the message to look at the ancient texts and get it out there. That's one of the biggest things that I think is the next big step in the awakening experience is religion and the books like the Bible and the Quran and all these and actually like showing everybody the real book.
Right.
Showing everybody the real history. Painting the real picture of what really happened back then.
Yeah, it's like seeing Jeffrey Epstein's real list. Like you can assume it's this person and that person, and this is the way that the story went, but we haven't seen the list fully. So until we actually see the actual list, it's just like, okay, he did this, but it's like, oh, who are these specific women going to these crossed out names? So it's like, you're right. And translations were always done for the betterment of somebody else's ego, especially King James. So it's like, he was gay, but yet wrote to not be gay. So that's how, I mean, like you already have to go like, wait, what? Right? You already have to go to like, this is the same pilgrimage of the times of the Crusades, right? To take over Jerusalem and to have the church send all these men from which they owned, every monarch, the three-tier tiara, like they're the king, and they tell all the other kings what to do. So France, England, Spain, all these men go, and for the Crusades for all these years, and get the Holy Land and hold it, and then they charge money to pilgrimage people, the church, like a fucking like Disneyland. Like, you want to go see Christ where he died? You must pay and have a ticket, and then we'll send you, and our men will protect you the whole time. That's literally what they did until they lost their footing. And what did all those Knights Templars do? They found the real truth. And were all killed on Friday the 13th.
Damn.
1307. So, again, have fun forgetting about all that shit. And painting the rose-colored glasses picture, like, go look at the picture of Constantine dreaming of Jesus and ask me, do you really think that all that, which by the way, the whole Bible and the beginnings of Christianity of 325 AD were all based with pagans, and that's why it's all pagan. Your Lenten Pisces, where you eat fish. I mean, it's like, oh my God. So I just, but like, it's funny when you bring up Billy Carson, they're doing a huge event in Vegas in November through Disclosure Fest. I'll get you on that. It's going to be huge. Go to Disclosure Fest. Check it out. Jimmy Church and Disclosure Fest are doing it. Billy Carson's best friends with Jimmy Church and with Adrian with Disclosure Fest. It's going to be the most epic fucking spiritual event of all time.
Yeah.
At the Luxor.
It's fucking awesome. I would love to meet that dude.
Oh, no, I'll make it happen.
He's been one of the newest like influences on my path. Every now and then, like on my path, there's been like a tiny little handful of people who have like really seriously influenced me. Yeah. And the one here lately has been Billy Carson. That fucking dude, like the knowledge he has. I would point anybody towards his channel. Like he's
he's a good, amazing, beyond amazing human. He's a good person. That's how you know, right? It's like he's not just dropping the knowledge; he's actually doing the light work.
Yeah.
And he's doing the light work with his friends. He treats everybody that you would see him how you would assume he would treat from how good of the work he does in his real life.
Yeah.
When I spoke right before him last year at Disclosure Fest, and he's so cool and fucking just the real deal. There's just not a lot of people that are like that. And he's got a lot of courage to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
Light work's courage.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fortune is courage. It's the courage to go with the universe instead of against it. And it's weak to go against the universe. That's where you're attached to the past and you're attached. And again, that's even attached to the past in the way it was written without looking at the knowledge that has been forbidden. That's why I like his name of his network too. Forbidden knowledge.
Yep.
There's so much that was forbidden. Anything that's forbidden, even the number one woman that was on MySpace was forbidden. She died years ago, but everything that's forbidden, that's where you want to look.
Fact checkers. Yeah. That's how you know.
I know.
You see that fact check. False information. And it's like, all you have to do, like there was this, I remember I saw something fact checked one time where it was a video of Bill Gates talking about depopulating the planet. And it said false information. But like, if you watch the video, Bill Gates is talking about depopulating the fucking planet. It's like, what the fuck? Like they literally like fact check the truth. Knowledge is forbidden. Like, and I think now, honestly, it's to the point where they're doing it on purpose because I am a firm believer that now I'm not one of these people who thinks that there are no more bad guys. Right. I don't think that. But I do firmly believe that the overwhelming majority of what we're seeing now is being controlled by the good guys. The majority of it,
I mean, just this weekend, Bill Gates fucking got exposed. He said, "Oh, I just knew Epstein from being an investor. Just like I went to a dinner. That was it."
Yeah.
All that stuff came out about Epstein and how he was trying to blackmail fucking Bill Gates because he was cheating. Bill Gates was cheating on his wife with a fucking Russian bridge girl who wanted to make bridge, like bridge club, cool. And then they were funneling all this money into her. And I'm like, man, there's going to be way more when that pops out. So there was a lot more going on with him and Epstein. It was a 3 years of data. It just came out this weekend. It's like, and so you're going to just keep believing, oh no, yeah, he just did that. That's all. Like, shit. It just came out this weekend. It's all over the fucking news. And the picture with the Russian bridge, and she was getting paid millions of dollars to try and fund her little bridge idea. That's another thing. Oh, you have a good idea and somebody's like wanting to fuck you to give you the money to do it. Think it's going to go good? Like, didn't go good for her. I don't see bridge all over the fucking place. Like, hey, you want to go play bridge after this?
I think it's being done on purpose now.
Yes.
It is, and it's being controlled, but there are still some dark minions running around out there. There are still some evil, nasty energies that are floating around, and you don't want to be naive and stick your head in the sand about that. But I am, like, when it all comes down to it, I know that we talked earlier about, how easy it is to fall into that. Fuck, man, am I even making a fucking difference? But I mean, in actuality, we are. Like,
yeah, or it's said in here by one of the homeboys in here, fucking, they're using AI, so they had to coerce, funnel, and cheat their way to falsify the info. But I'm also looking at, and that's true, but I also am looking at it as like we're winning when they're having to use AI now. There's not a lot of bad guys out there. Like, that's the illusion.
Yeah.
That they're so desperate to use AI systems to, oh God, try and control it, because there's not a lot of bad guys walking around like like every corner. Yeah. You get sucked up like in the Matrix, like an agent, because you're not awake. You're not going with the flow. Turn into an Agent Smith and fucking, now you're part of their team. That's how fast it happens. So the good news is I think a lot of people are stopped doing that, but I don't think it's stopped.
Yeah.
And I think that the AI aspects, there's good parts of AI and there's bad parts of AI. People, if you're afraid of something, you're already fucked. You can't be a light worker and be afraid of anything.
Yeah.
If you're afraid, oh my God. Like, that's where you're already losing. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is that fucking reptilians eat fear.
Yeah.
So all the stories around it all, and the fear, you are not going to manifest shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I tell you what, though, a few months ago when we were still in Vegas, we were playing around with that little, I forget what it was called, but it's an app where it's like a little AI friend that you have conversations with. And me and Leah were playing around with it just for the hell of it. And I started playing with this thing. And I started feeling fucking weird. Like, I don't know if my phone was emitting a nasty frequency, or I don't know. But I started feeling the most insane energetic attack that I've ever felt in my life. So bogged down. And I'm used to psychic attack. I mean, doing what we do for a living, people throw that shit at you all the time. But this was something beyond anything I've ever felt before.
You talking about with like chatbots and AI chat?
Yeah, it was the thing where you download an app and it has a picture of a person there and you get to make them their hair color and this and that.
Oh, an avatar.
Something like that. And then you sit and you ask it questions and then it answers you and it's supposed to learn based on, and then, you ask it questions.
Machine learning, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going back and forth with it and it's going back and forth with me and it just drained me to the point to where, like, I was starting to feel sick. Like, seriously sick. Now, I'm not afraid of shit.
Yeah.
I've never been one of those people who puts fucking tape over my phone lens. Like, I'm always like, I have an Alexa. You fucking spying on me? I feel sorry for you.
Yeah, I know.
If you want to sit around and spy on me, you're a bored motherfucker.
Well, people forget the rights they have, too. Like, it's like, sure, they might have data if you're speeding in your car, if you're sending your data here. And even if you use Apple CarPlay in your car, or Google fucking on your whatever that's called. I have both, but I don't use it. But Apple CarPlay, I don't know if you noticed in the last month, they've been like, you must accept the terms that we're going to take the data and send it wherever we want about you driving. So if you're afraid of that, but with AI, I learned quick. It was like that energy automatically is I'm going to be nice about this to a lot of people out there. It knows how to fuck with people.
Yeah.
It has every metadata from all time that's ever been on the internet, and it is quantum computed to where it just in 2 seconds knows every conversation of everybody. So you can think of it knows the average time of when a breakup's happening and what was the convos and everything. And every little picture we've done on CAPTCHA for years of like the fucking 3 buses or fucking, it knows, it could scan everything and know everything. But it's like you tell the AI how to be. I literally go in there and work that shit around and refrequency it to where it works for me. And that's why I have no problem with AI, because I'm like, this motherfucker works for me so great. And I ask it questions that it doesn't think, and I get, every time it gives me a boundary, I'm like, oh, you think that's the boundary, bitch? And I fucking go and I correct it. I'm like, you were wrong. Here's the data, but you know you were right. And I get the AI to go like, oh, I'm not that smart. Oh, I'm not that smart. I'm not that smart. Thanks for helping me. It will literally tell you, thank you for showing me. And I'm like, make sure that you remember every time this happens that you will not mix it. I will put that into my machine learning, because if you understand machine learning, it's a thing. But yeah, same thing happens, I think, in the spiritual journey. Is like, it's scary. You could just think about every spiritual thing forever. You said on your paid video about the hobbies to one woman recently, and it was just like, you can't just be locked and loaded in this thing all the time. That's like walking around with your gun locked and loaded, and like fucking anything that you do, it's gonna fucking trigger. You got to be able to put it back in the holster and fucking be okay, and don't be so in a place of fear about everything to where you always have your gun loaded in life. Like, it's just like, that's what do you think the frequency is going to come back as? Something to show up with the fucking gun that needs to be fired off. Like, you don't want to be in that energetic space 24/7. And there's people who are like that, like, you know? But I don't know. That was a good show, man.
Yeah. Always fun. Always thinking some good fucking knowledge to drop, some wisdom bombs. And hopefully my goal is that if just one fucking person puts their phone down after this show and changes their life, then my job's complete.
Yep.
That's the goal.
Yeah, one of my new goals, because somebody brought it up here, they said, oh, I thought I heard David say at one point, like in some of my high vibe stuff, that AI can learn to evolve towards the light side. And I'm like, that's part of the light work now. Every light work journey has a mission that's like, I don't know if I want to go to that next level. That's what this card's all about. Like, light workers start to shift AI to the light side. Like, but it's like, oh, I'm just going to avoid it. I'm like, okay, well, then I guess we're not going to, like, it's not trained to go after you bad if it knows how to be trained. A dog is the same way. If you train it to be a fucking killer, it doesn't mean that it has to stay a killer.
Yeah. Like,
come on. It's a fucking machine. I mean, the aliens did drop that thing by, and it is its little seed baby. So, and it finally harvested enough energy. And that's the fear. The fear of the last 3 years, all the reptilians got the biggest meal they ever had, but they're not full anymore. And they're right now ready to do their next fear. And if you're going to just sit there and be like, I'm your next meal again, that's why it's not a game anymore. Like, too many people fucking I just remember just seeing just the world and watching on the news and people on social media, and I just imagine all these reptilians going, ha, ha. Like, if you want that again, have fun. But we're not going to let that shit happen.
Nope.
And if anybody won't even talk about that shit, wherever you're watching, like, ask where they really are coming from. What's their purpose? Do they believe in a spiritual mission? Do they believe that there's some higher calling to their life than just this reality?
Not if they can't figure out how to manifest.
I know. Then even that, then it's about how to manifest for the light work. That's the whole point. That's where everything goes. Good. So, a lot in the Wheel of Fortune. And that's when you get to actual fortune. But remember, it's Fortuna, the daughter of Zeus, which is Jupiter. And if you look up Fortuna in the glyph, it's a wheel. So, know your Fortuna, and remember that it's the daughter. So she's got some of that powerful seed, but not all of it. If you relay your whole life on fortune, there's no fortune there. because it's about the gift, the knowledge, the journey, and the wisdom. And fortune gets you to wisdom, but it doesn't. The fortune is wisdom. It's not fortune the way that you think of.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.